been accepted on both TikTok and YouTube. That's good. Okay, we are officially live on TikTok and YouTube. Ah, I meant to post on. That's nice. I meant to post on TikTok and Instagram, especially Instagram. I really want to post on. I'm gonna go full cringe just for a minute.
By the way, did you update the picture or the photo collage, or not collage, but what do they call it? Photo cycling with
Yeah.
stuff I posted from the Woodward Cruise?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But so I can do that really easily on OBS. What I can do is I can actually set up a link for OBS to go pick photos from, and then from now until forever, we can just dump photos into this Google Doc.
Let's do that.
Okay, I'll have to do that later. Let me go full cringe and just post something on Instagram, letting people know that we're live. I'll probably do one. It'll just take 30 seconds. Nobody's in here yet, so. Okay. Change of plans. We are officially live on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. All of the links are in my link tree in the bio, so you guys should definitely come out. We're going to have Daniel.Drives popping in here in just a little bit. So my buddy and I are going to hang out for a little bit and just talk about overlanding for a bit. So definitely come by, hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. I said a bit like 300 times. Okay, that's... Yeah, I did. You start getting super self-conscious about this stuff.
I know. I don't envy like filming myself alone.
It's not as bad as it seems.
I'm sure you get used to it, just like everyone else, you know.
Well, I'll talk about the filming here in a second. So we are officially live on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. All the links are in my link tree in the bio, so definitely go check it out. As long as you guys can see this video, I am live. So we are officially live. Okay, so recording yourself is weird. No, thank you. I don't need audio.
I hate it.
Dude, we were at the event this weekend, and I remember I pulled out my phone and I said, okay, I want this to do well. I need to stand out, and I need to confidently record myself, which is not easy to do. So I literally looked at Brandon and I said, hey, I'm going to have to go full cringe. I said, just pretend you don't see me. Oh, no, what's going on? Oh, dude. I didn't... Hey, talk for me. Ryan, talk for me.
Oh, dude.
Oh, I'm an idiot. No, because I got my audio set up wrong. Hold on, I forgot to switch over. Okay, say something for me now.
It's all, dude.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have your audio until now.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm an idiot. Okay, so we are officially good now. It's picking up your audio. I'm going to make sure that TikTok is. But yeah, I literally looked at Brandon and I said, listen, I'm going to have to go full cringe. I said, please just act like you don't see me. He's like, I'll do my best. And I had to walk over and be like, what's up, YouTube? I did not do the what's up, YouTube. But
I feel like it's easier when you're just being yourself.
yeah, and that's what I was doing. I was just like, all right.
You know, well, I'm biased to what things that I like and I like to watch, but when people start off with that loud, boisterous, like, hey, dude, I'm here with so-and-so doing this and that, it's like, kind of turned off.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And
it's just fake. It feels fake, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I try to make mine just matter of fact. Like, hey, we're out here racing today. We're going to have some fun. Talk about the course briefly. I have on TikTok, I've had to do the whole, like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. But you got to remember when people are just like, nope, 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 nope. You've got to have something, like, immediately. There's a trend popping up now where people are making a loud noise. So it's clap, smack your car, something. And I was like, I don't know, man. It's like, I want my videos to do well, but I don't want to do... I don't know. Like, I don't know how far I want to take it. For instance, I've got a video that died today on submission, my last autocross clip. And I think I don't know. Because I've had random autocross clips do well, but they normally don't have hardly any editing. And this is no stranger to that. It's just me running and me talking. And I feel like if I put more editing into it, it would do better. But like, I'm not trying to sit down and make a 1.5 hour video every single day with my Miata, and then a Miata's popping up on screen is driving really fast, and then it's got Sonic or something stupid. Like, I don't know. I'm not really into all that. If you want to watch it, cool. Let's watch it. If not, that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to jack around. Oh, we got some goofball in here, Brandon Merida.
Ah, dude, that guy's so annoying.
Brandon, what's up, buddy? Oh, sorry. I'm also playing around with Restream. I can comment to 2 different places: TikTok, or I'm sorry, YouTube or Twitch, or I can just comment on one. That's pretty clever. We got a couple people hanging out, but so you wanted to talk overlanding. Oh yeah, about the
Yes, I have a
trip.
bug for some kind of overland trip, preferably at the tail end of this year. I don't know if it's going to work out for everyone else, but I mean, it would be nice. And it got me on kind of like a rabbit hole of looking like what decent actual, because like when I think of overlanding, I'm thinking like point to point, not a loop, point
Yeah,
to point, traveling completely off road through like desolate wilderness. And really, there's only a few places in the Midwest that you can actually do that, and there's 3 of them. The longest one is in Arkansas. It's at like the southern tip of Missouri, so technically it's still in the U.S., but it's like 600 miles of uninhabited wilderness. And that's actually like the video you sent us today.
yeah.
That's where that guy was.
Oh really?
Yeah. And the second one is a place, like if you look at the list we have,
Yeah.
it's called the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail, abbreviated as the TWAT.
Oh yeah, I have heard about that one. Because I
So
considered doing something like that, going down south of that.
yeah, that one looks pretty cool. That's in closer to you in the middle of Wisconsin. You actually start on the border of Iowa and you drive all the way up through the state of Wisconsin to Lake Superior. And
Oh
that's
wow.
also 600 miles. So it's pretty long. And then there's the 7-hour plane crash, which is 300 miles, and it goes from Wisconsin to the UP of Michigan. And all of them look pretty cool. So
Yeah, I definitely think that would be.
I'm definitely like hungry for a real overland, like day-long adventure. At least one day where we stay on the trail, camp out, and then finish it off and drive home.
And I think this would be an excellent, because I'm thinking from a content creation side of things. I think this would be an excellent like official wrap, because I haven't really started taking this stuff that seriously until this year when I've started buying GoPros and everything. And that sounds like an awesome trip to film. And
it would be a great time.
yeah, and it would really teach me a lot for preparing to film the Trans-American Trail, which is going to be extremely important to me. I mean,
and it would be like a test of our own, you know, resilience to if we can actually handle the Trans-American Trail, because this would be like a quarter of what we'd have to do on the Trans-American Trail.
Right. Sorry, I'm listening. I just now realized I had audio coming out of both aspects. But yeah, I mean, I think going up there and doing that, I'm 100% on board. Man, right now we are catching a huge window for points events at Autocross, which I said I was going to run a full season, so I'm running the full season. If I were to give up on running the full season, the Miata would be for sale right now, and I'd be buying an RX-8.
Do you actually want to run the full season, or are you just doing it to do it?
Yes. Well, I want to run the full season because I want to see where I'm going to place. Just because I've run partial seasons for the last 3 years, some more than others. So this is kind of the wrap up, and the culmination of everything to say like, okay, here it is. And actually, let me write this down on our list of stuff to talk about because I'm learning stuff about the RX-8 build that I'm considering, the hybrid run assist build, and it might involve taking a step back from competitive autocross. It's not really competitive. It's just my local region's pretty small, but it's competitive to me in the sense that I'm trying to push myself. Um, so yes, I definitely want to go. I'm sorry, I need to remember to mute that next time. I do want to go, and as far as when we could go, I think we're just going to have to squeeze it into October. I'll have to work with the wife.
Yeah.
Hopefully her job is not as mental as it is right now. It is just insane. So but the good news is we'll have a more steady babysitter by then as well. So
And the good thing about the 7-hour plane crash trail is you can do it over a weekend if you take Monday or Friday off. And they said if you're taking your time, if you're just chilling, 3 days. So if we really wanted to book it, or we needed to get home quicker than we wanted to, or than we thought we had to be, we can get out of there pretty quickly. But I don't know if you looked at the drive to get to the start of the trailhead yet.
No.
But it's about 8 hours from you. And
Wow.
it's 10 hours from me. So
Yeah.
be a good trip. But I mean, we drove 8 hours to North Carolina from Indianapolis. So
Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. I'm sorry. I don't know what is going on with audio tonight, but I keep hearing. I have audio coming out of my screen, which doesn't make any sense. Actually, I got a good fix for that. Give me 2 seconds.
yeah.
All right, problem solved. I just unplugged my monitor. I didn't want to turn down the computer audio because then I was afraid it was going to affect
Right.
the stream. So I'll have to figure out why it's doing that later. Yeah, that would be a trip and a half. So, man, as far as taking time off goes, I'm chewing into my vacation days right now.
You only really need to take 1 day off. Well,
because I have 6, and we're gonna go to Florida in December, and then we actually fly in the day we go back to work after Christmas break. And my thought was, I was like, well, I'd like to take 3 days off. I'm just gonna take the rest of that week off when we come back, because we come back on like a Tuesday. Anyway, so I was gonna take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then I've taken 2 days. It's a whole thing, and it sounds like I might actually take Thursday off now because we don't have a babysitter. So
okay.
That's my only fear is I got to make sure I leave vacation days. When we start talking about October time frame, let's talk at the end of September and plan this out. And the only reason I say that is just to make sure that something hasn't come up where I need to take vacation days, like my babysitter getting arrested again. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, she texts Jessica, by the way. I haven't talked about this on
From
the stream.
jail?
No, not from jail. She must have paid her bonds. But yeah, she texted her and was like, I just wanted you to know that it's not what it seems like. And I was like, bro, I'm not sending my baby. I'm not sending my child there. It's crazy.
I wouldn't send my child there, but I'm not gonna make judgments.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wasn't trying to make
how
judgments.
things can go.
Yeah, but it was more a case of I don't know what's going on, but I don't need to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, speaking of that, let's talk about the RX-8 build for a second. And the reason I'm still saying RX-8 is because I have not found an alternative. I want lightweight, rear-wheel drive, stick shift, and ideally 4-door. That way I can put child back seat in the back. Yeah, it needs to be very affordable. Ideally, I could buy it cheap and then race it cheap is going to be the big thing. 4 doors, it doesn't have to be 4 doors as long as it has back seats that are accessible. Somebody showed me a G35. Did you know the G35, you press a little button and the seat folds and then moves on a motor? It's like, I'm so sorry, sir. Let me move out of your way with my fancy electric seat. Some dude had one at Autocross. And I was like, I think a G35 is the
How
only.
common are the 4-door G35 manuals?
I'm not buying a 4-door G35. They're hideous. I'm buying a 2-door.
You just said you wanted a 4-door.
I do want a 4-door, but I said if it's got back seats, I could accept a 2-door if they're
Okay.
accessible. It was very accessible. You could fit a very large adult back there. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be caught dead in a 4-door G35. They're hideous. And I think by then,
G35.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, at this point, we're getting into like the 3,300 pound range, 300 horsepower. It's like, I don't think this is really cheap anymore. I think
It's a Luxo barge.
Yeah,
It's a Luxo barge.
I think I would enjoy the car a lot, actually, especially with a stick shift. I think it'd be a ton of fun and comfortable for like road trips and stuff. But this isn't really what I'm wanting. There isn't another rear-wheel drive stick shift, especially 4-door car, that weighs less than 3,000 pounds, besides the RX-8. I'm thinking it does not exist.
No.
It's just crazy.
Not unless it's some like fringe old, super old car that.
Yeah. So I've already talked at length about the hybrid Renesis, and we've got a couple people watching. If you guys don't know what the hybrid Renesis is, essentially you remove the rotor housings from an RX-8, which is the Renesis engine, and you put in a 1984 to 87 FC RX-7. Somebody just bought an RX-8.
I was going to say, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Well, you swap in those housings, and then you have a factory Mazda housing that you can buy brand new, cheaper than a Renesis housing, and it's got a factory peripheral port. So this costs a lot of money to do on a Renesis. It's a huge hang up to gain a bunch of exhaust flow and get a lot of the heat out of the Renesis. That's the big deal. Exhaust flow for one, but heat, because it destroys these motors. You can crack a housing for this. Wow, Angel said he just bought an RX-8 for $350. That was it was a shell with a transmission but no engine. Honestly, I'd be down for that, especially if I can just buy somebody else's blown up Renesis.
With wheels?
Yeah, I guess it comes with wheels. Yeah.
Did it come with anything? Did it come with a rear end?
Yeah. Angel, by the way, thank you for hopping in. Also, this is a good test that Restream is working very well. I think I'm going to really like this app. But yeah, so there's actually a $1,000 RX-8 for sale right now. The guy said it's blew it up, parked it. There's really nothing wrong with it besides the engine's dead, which is exactly what I want. And I was like, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of people signing up to give him $1,000 for a dead car. Oh, he said it's a whole rolling shell. Yeah, but the problem is I don't think I really need to be spending $500. My wife's making good money now, but I told her I was going to pay all the bills this month while she gets back on her feet. I said that, and then she went and bought a brand new 58-inch TV last week. So clearly she's not hurting for money.
Was it at least OLED?
Yeah, it was like a 4K, I guess, smart TV. To be honest, it was a brand I've never heard of, but she was excited, so I was like,
"What brand is it?"
I don't remember now. It's a weird one. So it sounds familiar. Yeah. I mean, $1,000 RX-8, I was like, dang, man. Like, it's tempting to go buy this thing. It would save me a lot of money because everything else I'm finding is $1,500 to $2,000. And when you start getting to that price range, you really don't have a whole lot of room if you get into it and find the rotors are ruined and the irons are ruined.
Yeah, RX-8s, even if they're not blown up, really don't go for too much either. So,
dude, somebody just had a poll on YouTube.
Unless they're like the 2010 and up, where they really fixed a lot of the problems, those ones still hold their value for some reason.
People say they have a bunch of problems, but it's a rotary engine. If you want a rotary engine, you buy the car, and it has a unique set of maintenance intervals compared to a piston cylinder car. I don't know if it's really that.
That's why most people can't handle it, and they don't understand that it's different. And
yeah, I don't think they're really that problematic. It seems like, especially the people that race them, they're actually pretty good engines.
If you know what they are, and you know what the problems are, and you know how to fix it, and you understand the technology, it's really not that difficult. Yeah.
Angel said he was talking about, he knows how it feels with the paying all the bills and the wife is around buying stuff. Yeah, don't worry, we're fixing that next month. I'm excited. We're going back to like a more moderate split. However, we got to add a babysitter to the mix, so you know how that's gonna be. But yeah, okay. So here's the issue. when you start doing a hybrid renesis, essentially picture this as, if you guys aren't on terms with renesis or with rotaries, picture you just replace the exhaust. Yeah, we'll go with that. Imagine you've just swapped the cylinder head on a V8 engine. That's kind of what this is comparable to. You've I've just swapped the cylinder head. It's actually a great analogy. I'm thinking about it more thoroughly. Now, if you start doing a Bridgeport, which I'd also like to do, now we're talking about doing a cam or maybe even porting a cylinder head. It's kind of the both, because you're changing your induction timing, your exhaust timing, and you're also increasing flow through the intake and exhaust. So it's essentially
your cam and your RX-8.
What I'm saying is it's comparable to a cam and heads package.
Oh, okay.
So I got to looking at rules, and I think an RX-8 with the build that I would like to do which is just wheels, tires, suspension, and a couple other minor mods. It would be like STX class, which would be perfect because I would have a ton of cars that run against the BRZ, GT86, and FRS, which is what I want. However, if I go do this hybrid build, and specifically if I do a Bridgeport, I'm out of there. I think if I did a non-ported hybrid renesis, I think I would get by with being CSP, which is C Street Prepared. Don't quote me on this. I think it's CSP. It's that or DSP, which is D Street Prepared, because that allows you to swap parts with older build revisions. Which this is not an older RX-8 part, but it's an older RX series part. So maybe I could bend the rules. I don't know. We'll see. But if I go and do a Bridgeport, man, we're talking about being full on. I don't remember the class name now, but it's like full on like motor swap, gutted, roll cage. What's up, Brandon?
What's up?
Come on, gentlemen.
Brandon, you're here for the. Oh, I guess we're not in live stream,
Yeah.
are we? Yeah, I guess I didn't realize we weren't in the live stream chat, are we?
That's all good.
Yeah, well, I set that up. That way, if we ever have other people in here, they can't come into the live stream. But, Brandon, you came in here perfect time. We're talking about the RX-8 build that I would like to do, and there's some complications with Autocross. If I do a hybrid renesis and I port this, I cannot be an STX. I think if I just did a hybrid renesis, I might be able to argue a case slightly for me being in, I think I said it was C Street Prepared or D Street Prepared, which is not very common in our region. But if I go do a Bridgeport and get that rotary brap that everybody loves, which yeah, which I kind of want to do for content, to be honest.
Yep.
I'm full up there with Brandon Prambo's fully built S2000, and I think he's the only other car that I would be running against.
So what I'm hearing is I should just, XSA Monte Carlo.
Yes, you should XSA. What would you have to do to XSA? I think XSA is the class. Thank you for telling me that. What do you have to do to the Monte Carlo to be XSA?
Any wing bigger than 10 inches taller than the body.
10 inches taller in the body.
At that point, I could go gutted. Like I could get stupid really quick with it.
Traditional cam class rules. You've got to do something insane to get kicked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. At this point in time, Brandon, we also briefly talked about whether there are any other options I should consider. And I was telling Ryan, I said, I think the only thing that I would consider right now is a G35 stick two-door. But I still, man, I don't know. I don't think that really fits the lightweight, cheap seat time car.
No.
We're talking 1,000 pounds heavier than the Miata just to get a G.
I can say this because I've driven one. Not hard at a racetrack, but they're boats.
They are.
I'm starting to learn something as well. You haven't driven a car in a performance setting until it's on a performance alignment. If you drive a car and it's on a straight alignment,
you can
irrelevant.
Make a car whatever you want it to be if you have enough money and time and.
Yeah, but whatever I buy, it's not going to run around on 1.5 degrees of camber.
I think the RX-8 is going to be much more naturally designed for what you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
At a cheaper price. And it's also more interesting You get to rebuild the motor and make it the way you want it. I mean,
Yeah, and the way I'm going
what
right
more can you
now,
ask for?
yeah, and the way I'm looking at it right now is this is definitely going to be a content machine. So it's gonna have to brap. It's gonna have to brap. It gets views. You can't tell me it doesn't. People love a brappy rotary. Nobody wants to hear a bone stock RX-8 idle. It's just not that. It's not that fun to listen to. And in some cases, they can actually sound really bad. And then I think as far as the Renesis part, I think I just need to shell out the money and do it, even if that means putting coilovers off, because I think that would really do well. Luke and I looked it up last night. The only people on YouTube that advertise a Renesis build is Kyle Mohan, the drifter, and then I think Mazda Tricks has a couple videos, and then there's another guy. I don't remember his name now, but he's a big rotary guy. But it's just those three, and it's like, dude, there's so much content that can still be generated from this, just as a dipshit with a 2-car garage and too much money.
Yeah.
I say too much money, but it'd be all from the Miata buying a
I-
salvage title RX-8.
I see the RX-8 as a extended wheelbase Miata with 4 seats and a rotary motor.
And that's kind of what we're looking for. So
That's what you want. That's what I think you want.
I really want a rotary. I think that's why I'm so stuck on the.
Oh,
yeah,
rotaries are cool. I kind of want one too, but
dude.
Yeah.
I think if
I would
build a
only
rotary,
be buying an RX-7 though.
I think if I buy an RX-8 and you hop in it and run it out to 9,000 RPMs the very first time, I think you'd be sold.
Oh yeah. Luke and I drove one a long time ago, and yeah, I already like it.
Angel's building up for something big. Brandon, say hello to Angel on the YouTube chat. He said.
Go on.
Oh,
Angel.
he said it is. Never mind. He said it is.
Oh.
Like it is in it. It would be a lot of fun, I think. But yeah, as soon as we hear that thing scream to 9,000 RPMs the first time, I think there'll be no going back. So.
But I also have motorcycles, so.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, 9,000 RPMs would be more than some of the motorcycles I owned. Yeah. So.
I believe my Mazda Speed Miata revs out to 7,800?
There's no way.
7,500?
That sounds more reasonable. I guess it's not that big of a jump.
I mean, it's not that big a difference.
I don't think it revs almost $8,000 though. I don't think that turbo even flows up there, does it?
Yeah. It does. It's actually a pretty. That turbine housing has a pretty big AR. It is notorious. I mean, it's notorious for not spooling until like 4,500 RPM because they size the turbo really, really large for some reason. So.
Oh.
It'll flow.
Adrian said, I would love to put a hybrid Renesis, but I've been looking at Turbo Ecotech. I 100% support Turbo Ecotechs on this channel. Some might even say I'm a Turbo Ecotech dick rider. LNFs, LDKs, Turbo LSJs, throw them all my way. Big fans, big Ecotech fans around here.
Hey, I'll agree with them. That's a good ass motor.
I love the Mazda.
You can't pass that up. I mean, Chevy's got their problems. That was a great motor.
Everybody knows that. If they
talk about the transmission.
Yeah, just don't talk about the trans. If they had put anything but a twin scroll turbo on the side of the LDK, LNF, and LHUs, it would have been a very different car. And
the electronic wastegate.
Right? Yeah, dude.
That is insane.
Did they
twin scroll with an electronic wastegate on a Cobalt? That was first in its class to do that.
I mean, did they just fire all those engineers? What happened? What happened when we went to the 1.6 and 1.4? GM was knocking it out of the park. We don't need to get ZCP on.
I'll tell you what it was. That motor was designed in Europe, and that was one of the first motors I believe that Chevy had designed in Europe.
Oh, I thought you were about to say turbo, but I was about to be like, no, the 3.8 turbo.
No.
But what do you mean Europe? What were they designing it?
It was designed for Opel, that motor.
That'd make a lot of sense to compete with the European hot hatches.
Yes. Yep.
Dude, if they had brought over one of their hot hatches and stuck that in something
Dude, I
beside,
would have bought one of those things. Those things were awesome.
yeah, I'm not really
From
a
what I
big
heard.
Euro hot hatch guy anymore. I used to be with the Volkswagens, but it's hard to deny they are fun when they're not broken, but they're broken more often
They're
than
usually
not.
always broken.
Yeah, Angel, I heavily considered instead of buying my Miata, I was originally dead set on getting a Pontiac Solstice GXP, and then doing the full bolt-on ethanol, you know, almost 400 pound-feet of torque, and then I drove one and I liked it, but was that when I bought the Camaro? Or was that after the
No,
Camaro?
that was when you were looking for the Cobalt.
No, because I was looking at that after the Cobalt. So I had a Cobalt Angel. I had a Cobalt SS Turbo that some kid had blown up the LNF and stuck an LDK in, and we blew up the transmission in it, and it was a ton of fun. But yeah, I don't remember what that window was like. I just remember I didn't end up buying it. But I drove a stock naturally aspirated one because I couldn't find a red line. I think they were just so expensive. I couldn't find one that I liked in my price range.
How was it?
What?
How was the Solstice?
So imagine a much more bubbly Miata.
I know what it looks like. How did it drive?
I don't remember. I don't remember it being bad. I remember it felt very nimble. But I'm trying to remember. I think I came from the Cobalt. I don't think I had the Camaro yet. So, you know, saying that a short wheelbase tiny car is nimble doesn't surprise you, but it was eye-opening to me because I never had something like that. I personally think there's an older lady that runs one in our Autocross regions, and it looks like a blast. I would absolutely love to build one. Just bolt on, coil over, wheel tire, and just autocross it. Oh, Angel said he was looking at a Solstice, and his wife chose a body style and chose the RX-8. Yeah. To be fair, though, I think the RX-8 is going to be better.
RX-8 looks cooler.
I love the RX-8. I think it'll be a better track toy, autocross toy. So, that I don't think there's a whole lot of aftermarket for the Solstice. There's going to be a lot more for the RX-8. So, Ryan, did you have any more topics on the RX-8? Because if not, I want to talk about Autocross this weekend, actually.
No.
He's out there cooking. You
I'm
make it,
cooking
dude.
pizza, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna claim it as a hot pocket.
Close enough.
Yeah, might as
No.
well. It's Ryan. You can't. Don't act like it's much better.
It's not better. I'm not saying it's better. It's
So
leftovers.
we got big winner this weekend. Brandon this was your best finish at an autocross ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the best other was Xenia, and it was 15th or 16th overall. And then,
That's awesome. Yeah, so Brandon ended up taking it was 12th raw, right, and then 10th packs.
yep,
Yeah, and for those of you guys who don't run autocross, essentially packs, they take your raw time, and based on what kind of car and class you're in, you'll have time added or subtracted in order to make the entire field closer together. So, for instance, my Mazda Miata has time added. The KMC cars, which would be the Mustang, Camaro, GTO, those kind of things, they actually have time subtracted. So I went from 10th raw to 12th packs. Brandon went from 12th raw to 10th packs. So we switched lots. But yeah, man, big game. And just imagine if you didn't have a national champion run.
yeah, Mr. National Champion. Yeah, it definitely.
I don't think he ran nationals this year, or does nationals not run yet?
National hadn't run yet. I think it's in like less than a month or right at a month.
Oh, it might be fun to have him on here and talk about his time running autocross. That'd be
Who's the
really
Yeah,
cool.
national champion?
Brandon Parambo, he went down in his Porsche Carrera last year and basically just whooped up on everybody at nationals, is what I'm hearing, in B Street. The story that I've heard through the grapevine is that he went down there threw down an absolutely gangster run, his very first run, and then nobody could touch it the entire day. I mean, just imagine that you buy brand new tires, you trailer your vehicle across the country to compete nationally, and some kid in what looks like a Porsche Boxster runs out and just sets down a time that nobody can touch. Because I've been told that it was the very first lap that he did this, and then I've been told I didn't hear numbers, but I've been told that he just decimated the competition. So it sounds like nobody even got close to it. But so he's
What year is it, Porsche?
I don't know. It's early 2000s. Oh, by the way, he only had the car. He bought the car that same year, beginning of that same year. I remember we were in the group chat. He was driving from. He flew out to Cali to buy it, and then drove it back to Indianapolis, running some autocross in between. So
It's pretty cool.
I would like to have him on talk to him, but yeah, it sounds like he's going to take the S2000 out there, and I guess whoop up on some more people, but in a way more expensive class. So, oh, we got a couple people in here. Seahorse, Tail of the Dragon. Yep, Tail of the Dragon. I missed my MX-6. Oh yeah, I always forget the MX-6 was a thing.
The MX-6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Forgotten legend.
We just had Miatas at the Gap actually, and I almost tried to go down, but obviously with a 6-month-old, it's kind of hard to do that last minute. And then Lulu, hello, thank you for hopping in.
That's Maria.
Maria's Lulu.
Yep.
What's up, Maria? Did you get to show Maria the video of her running?
I have not got to show her yet.
Just send her that link, and that link should get her in. Oh, I'll have to make sure it's cool. I don't know if she's still in here listening, but I would like to release her video with a voiceover because I think she's an excellent case study for somebody that, dude, she looked terrified to run that very first run. I've got the full video. She's like, okay, so I'm going to go up there. I'm going to grab second. And it's just like, when you've been doing this stuff for so long, it's just like, yeah, I think I want to do this here. And I don't know. We'll just figure it out on track. The car might snap sideways.
Watch the video.
I sent it to the group chat. Yeah, you definitely got to go watch it. But
I thought it was Brandon driving. I didn't watch it. I didn't click on it.
No.
I definitely got better looking. But yeah, like her first run, like she was so nervous and everything, and then to her last run, looks like she's been doing it for a while.
Yeah, she definitely looked way more comfortable. I remember looking out there and seeing my car running around, and I was like, that probably just looks like me driving, because she wasn't like really running slow. So yeah, she should definitely be proud of how well she picked up. Well, right. There was a guy there too, in that G35, Brandon. She was only a second off of him. Well, and I don't think he was terrified like she was at first. So she picked up quick. Oh yeah, she's still in here. So.
Well, I've sent it to her so she can see it. Yeah.
And Maria, that video is hidden, by the way, so only everybody in here with the link can see it. But yeah, I think she's an excellent case study for just how quickly you can hop in and just have fun. Even if you're nervous. Jessica was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I was like, I think, well, she also can't drive stick, so she can drive stick. She's just scared of it.
Yeah, it's like Nathan. Like he wants to, when he gets his license, he's gonna be like, I want to do this, and it's like, he was asking questions about it. I'm like, you can literally show up in your mom's car and do autocross.
If we had a bunch of money coming in, like if I had a bunch of money from social media, the very first thing I would probably do is I would like to do a video where I go buy a car on Craigslist. It would probably have to be the night before, maybe even like the morning of, if I can get the time worked out. Go buy a car off Craigslist, like just some economy car, and then take it directly to an autocross. Tech in, hopefully the car passes tech, and then run it and just be like, look, like, and I'm not saying just like, okay, it's got to survive. No. I'm saying like, if it's an auto, I mean, we're on the brake and the gas launching that thing. If it's a stick, I'm talking 6,000 RPM launches. The idea is I'm going to go there and attempt to break this random person's economy car, and just go, hey, look at how well this thing did all day long.
So Mitch, I've got a legit proposal here.
Okay.
Let's take the S10 to just a random event and just to prove like it's 4-cylinder manual S10 with no mods
Yeah.
and just
I think that would be a really fun video. I would like to do an introduction. That would be a lot of fun because I could do an introduction, just say like, okay, like, how much have you done to prepare to make this thing survive? And I assume it'd be like, well, I just put a new motor in it 3 weeks ago. It's not an LS. It's an Iron Duke. It just runs. And that's all
it makes like 30 horsepower.
it makes like 30 horsepower. Angel said take a Prius. That would be pretty funny.
It would.
How do you think a Prius would do? Like exiting slaloms and such with the electric torque?
I'm gonna bet it lights the tires up pretty quick.
Probably pretty good.
Dude. Okay, never mind. If I ever had money from YouTube, we would buy a Prius and put it on some AO52s. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, dude. I don't know why that's the kind of stuff that I want to do. I don't want to buy the Ferrari. I don't want to buy the Mark IV Supras. No, I want to buy a bunch of shit boxes and be like, guys, look, how many more shit boxes do I have to buy to show you? Like you could just
You don't
run
need a
your
Ferrari.
car. Yeah.
Have fun with a car.
Now here's the question: would you buy somebody's random economy hatch, or somebody's random economy car, and then take it to a track day?
Why not?
I'm thinking brake fluid is kind of a must.
Well, you're going down the same path you're stopping people from going down with the autocross.
What do you mean?
You can take it to a track day. You can have fun. But the minute you want to be competitive, you got to start spending money.
There's zero about this being competitive. This is about, can I do this
Right.
safely?
So if you want to go to a track day and you don't care about being competitive and you just want to have fun, you can take whatever you want.
Do you think, here's my question, do you think it would be safe to run a car that's probably never had the brake fluid changed in the last 6 years? Maybe more.
I mean,
That's
someone
my only
in that
concern.
say someone in
Yes.
that level, they're not going to be pushing the
They're
car.
not going to push the car that hard.
That's
Right.
fair. That's a
Someone
really
who's
good point.
bringing a Honda Civic from 1995 to a track day that hasn't had the brake fluid changed since it was brand new, they're not going to be driving it like it's a Camaro ZL1.
Now, if one of us were to do it, we probably should.
We
change
would
the
probably
fluid
bake the
because,
shit out of the brakes and
yeah, I mean, it would be only
eat turn one.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we would be a very good case study because we're not experts by any means. But I
But
feel
then
like
again,
we know
like
more than
how
the average
fast can
fan.
you even get going on the straightaway in a 1995 Honda Civic?
Right. But that's a very good point. Maria said,
I would say the level of care that needs to be taken with the hardware for a track day is more important. Like you can't be going out there with tires with bubbles on the side of it, unbalanced wheels. It's
Yeah.
gotta be like.
I feel
Other
like,
than that, as long as your tires are good, you're probably gonna be fine.
honestly, I think I'd be more concerned about, as long as there's tire life and they're not dry rotted, I think I'd be more concerned about brake fluid. I haven't been on track, though. I guess you haven't been on
Brake
track
fluid
anything
only
over 400
matters if
pounds
you're
either.
using the brakes like a race car driver.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. I don't want to
Most
find
people-
out.
Most people who do their first track day, they don't even know how hard they can even use the brakes.
I was gonna say,
They've never done it before.
That's
watch
a
like
very good
Not that
point.
they're bad at driving, they've never even tried. You can't
No.
do that on the street.
for instance, like Maria, she still probably don't know what your car's limit is, Mitch.
No. Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. So
Car a
your
lot
normal
left out.
average person is going to be similar to Maria's skill
They've
level.
they've never even put their foot to the floor like that before on the
Yeah.
street.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I think you're actually making a really good case. I feel like that would also be
I
a really
think
fun
if your
video.
tires are good, decently new tires, they're all for the same tire, same brand, same tread.
I would say the
I
big
think
thing
whatever
would
you
be
want to do, go to a track day.
if it's safe to go down, the interstate. I would say you'd be fine.
I think that's a really good way to think about it. If you can confidently drive your car on a couple-hour road trip down the highway, you're probably good. I know you're good for autocross. You're probably good for track day. I don't know. I'm excited to run my first track day and find out. Dude, I am so pumped. Yeah. Angel's talking about how he's got a Mercedes S500. The S500, that's a. Do they have a 5-liter V8 too? Why am I thinking 5-liter? Or am I just thinking Coyote? Angel, you have to tell me what's in that S500.
When's your track day again?
September 21st, I'm going to Gingerman Raceway, and I'm running Track Nights in America, and I am pumped. It'll be the first event ever, track day for me. It'll be the first time I've done something like this in the Miata, and I am towing my Miata down with my Xterra Pro 4X, which I am pumped about. It's 5-liter V8, he said. So I am so pumped. It's going to be like the ultimate car enthusiast weekend. I'm going to be overlanding, well, not like off-roading overlanding, but I'm going to be camping out of the Xterra, towing with the Xterra. I'm going to be racing the Miata. I mean, you can't get more exciting than this as somebody who's got like the tow rig, and I am so pumped. So I'm excited. I'm trying to plan for content to create while I'm down there. I think I'm going to make this into a huge filming session. I just got to make sure I get my batteries to live. So yeah. Which, speaking of which, Ryan, pull that curtain back a little bit. Do I see a little shitbox Mazda out there?
Yeah.
If you've been parking that thing outside.
Well, yeah. I got 2 bikes in the garage.
Oh, is your truck in the garage?
It's pretty small. No, can't fit in there. It's a really small garage.
Oh.
I could fit the Miata in there, but I've been having it up for sale, and ever since that happened, I have been keeping it outside. But
So you said it's been for sale, but I can't help but notice it's in your driveway.
it's still my driveway.
So that probably means it's good for a track day.
It does, yeah. And I was just thinking, I think there's still enough life in the tires left for
Oh
one
my
track
gosh.
day.
Dude, aren't there like
They're
cords
not
showing?
bald. No, there's
They're not
cords.
bald. Are you down to the
No.
wear bars?
No.
Oh.
I don't know why you thought they were bald for so long, but they're not.
I thought you were
You
complaining
saw
about
how
these things on the
did
Dragon.
you see how I was driving on the Dragon?
I thought you were saying they were bad on the Dragon.
I mean, they weren't like super sticky like my Speed 3's tires were.
You know what? Actually, bring it out. That way I can
Yeah.
prove to you. Maria says she
And
got
you
to
can
run.
make content on it. You can make content on it.
Gapping a miles of speed and the boat
Yapping
Miata.
some idiot that
Oh, that's
brought
gonna be
out
the title right there.
crappy old tires. Yeah.
Mazda boat gaps a turbo race car Mazda speed.
Unless I find a decent deal on tires before then. In which case they're getting
Just
gone. But
quick reminder
I think
that I
brake
bought.
fluid, alignment, and I could run this thing at a track day, no problem.
Dude, an alignment. If you've never done a sport like setting alignment on your car, go do it if you're racing. It's night and day. So everybody says tires are the best first mod. I think for the cost, I think an alignment.
Alignment.
Oh my gosh, you're silly if you don't go get an alignment. If you go and you get a street alignment on your car that you're racing, you're missing out on so much. Brandon, I wish we had like acceleration data from your car from before and after the camber plates.
Yeah, it's so my car's got the accelerometer built in.
Oh, really?
So last year on the 555 G2s or whatever, I could barely get it to like 0.7, 0.8 when cornering.
Yeah.
I'm up to 1.3 on turning left and right.
Yeah. That's
Just
tires and alignment.
yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be night and day
Alignment
difference.
is a huge difference.
Yeah.
And the alignment on that Miata right now is
Do you even know what your spec is right now, like tow and camber wise?
no. I've never. It hasn't been in the shop since I bought it.
If it's
I have
anything
no
like,
idea.
I don't know about track
All I
alignments.
know is it pulls to the left so hard.
Oh my gosh.
Except for circle track life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have to be a circle.
Angel literally just said, I see so many street racers, with their alignments, not setting their cars pulling side to side. Yeah, don't get me started on like the highway pulls guys. I don't know, like I've done the highway pulls thing in the Camaro.
Everybody goes through that phase, I feel like.
Yeah. And then you just realize,
Some people don't progress past that, and that's fine too. But
yeah, I think that's where a lot of the views are still. There's a bunch of really popular guys that's all they do is just, hey guys, we're gonna draggy my turbo Mustang that's an auto. So all you gotta do is just gas, done. Okay, Timmy, you could probably do the exact same numbers that I just did.
I spent more money than you, ha!
It's all it is, bro. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for drag racers though. I got a ton of respect. Maria just changed her name to Maria Tortilla. I pronounced it Tortilla off that Vine, and I was like, okay, that wasn't as funny. Um, but yeah, dude, the drag race stuff is a whole other planet as far as car setup goes. I love watching Cletus and the Boosted Boys, and just I love following them and them talking about the car setup changes they're making and going along that ride with them. I think that's a lot of fun hearing about that chase. And I had an eye-opening experience at Autocross this weekend with coilover adjustments. I really didn't get into mid-event coilover adjustments until our last Western Ohio region event, and then this one. And the car was night and day. I mean, it was useless when we showed up, Brandon. And then by the end of it, I was full throttle through a couple slaloms. The car was planted. I could finally get it to rotate. I'm telling you, man, this is something. I see the value in like multiple way adjustable coilovers. I don't know what it all means. I'm just now figuring out my tains.
What are you talking about?
Just being able to adjust damping on my coilovers. I was able to take my car from not wanting to rotate, hopping around in the middle of slaloms, to being planted in slaloms, full throttle, and actually getting the car to rotate. And all I did was, I think I went
You're
from
still
like
in the tines, right?
Tane, but yes. Sorry, put some respect on the name, please.
Tines?
Yeah. We're on the Tanes. They're one-way adjustable, front and rear, and do pretty well. I mean, I beat somebody this weekend.
So you adjust compression and rebound at the same time.
Yes. I don't understand what is a three-way adjustable coilover. I assume that's getting into like fast.
That is preload, compression, and dampening all independently adjustable.
Wouldn't your preload can't you adjust that with your spring? Or I guess that would have.
Yes, but like on a shock that's like designed with no compromise, you can adjust the preload of your spring independently of the ride height, which is why I bought the BCs, because they're threaded body.
Yeah.
I use the threaded body to adjust the ride height, and the preload stays the same.
Yeah, my Tanes are threaded body as well. I can adjust my preload separate from the ride height as well. But they aren't three-way. My understanding of three...
Yeah, because...
No, they were sold as one-way. My understanding is two-way means you have rebound and then compression. So three-way, to me, is sounding like there's going to be a third knob, maybe for like a fast and a slow rebound or compression setting.
You can do that, yeah. There's fast, slow. I mean, that's like multi-$1,000 suspension, though.
That would be a really good question for Daniel, I think, because Daniel has been into that stuff seriously. I'm excited to have him on here a little bit. So just a little reminder for everybody that's here. The side of the Wasted Spark podcast, livery, I guess, says we are going to be joined with Daniel. Daniel's not here yet. I guess we can do an introduction for some people hanging out. Daniel runs P71 with his Marauder. He's got a Camaro 1LE that unfortunately he wrecked 2 weeks into having. It sounds like he still doesn't have that back, Brandon, which is crazy. But more importantly, he has a Buick Roadmaster, and he doesn't post enough content of it. And I need content of that Buick Roadmaster. Dude,
I love GM, big body cars.
Right? Dude, couldn't those things like tow like 6,000 pounds, 7,000 pounds?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Dude, I'm pretty positive some of those old GM wagons were like body on frame wagons, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they typically had like what, a Chevy 350 small block, 305 small block, something.
Usually.
You're not gonna move very quick in a 305 small block, but ideally you'd make enough torque just to tow. Am I right there, Ryan? Are you looking that up?
Yeah.
Look up an old Buick Roadmaster, dude.
What year?
I
I
don't
would
know.
do mid 80s.
Yeah, I was about to 85.
94 to 96, advertised as up to 5,000 pounds.
Dude,
So that's the new body style still.
if I could buy a
Hold on.
big body wagon right now that was body on frame and would tow 7,000 pounds, I would. I would.
With the
100%.
estate wagon tow package, that extended up to 7,000 pounds.
You imagine that, dude? I would love that.
I need to buy a Roadmaster to haul the Monte Carlo to track days and shit.
You should buy a Buick Roadmaster. It'd be comfortable too, dude.
And I could, there's plenty of room in the back to sleep.
There it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that.
All right, I know what my next car is going to be.
Maria, listen, you've got to allow this. So here's the question: what's gonna leave for the Buick? Are we just adding the Buick to your current fleet?
We'll just keep the fleet, you know.
Just keep the fleet.
I'll just start renting cars.
Hey Brandon, look at this sick Titan Pro 4X. Ah, dude, but a Buick Roadmaster. Oh, dude, I want to hear all about this thing. I need to know now. I wonder if he tows with it. I'm asking him how he's getting this Marauder and stuff to the track. But I'm thinking he drives it. I want to get into a topic that I saved. I think we're a little ways into the podcast. So I'm okay with digging this stuff up. I want to talk about Whistling Diesel setting fire to his Ferrari. Have you guys seen this video?
Yep.
Ryan hasn't seen it. So for anybody else that's in here that hasn't seen the video, let me give you a quick rundown. Whistling Diesel has bought a Ferrari. It's like a $400,000 Ferrari, I think he said.
Oh, I did see that he bought a Ferrari.
Yeah, well, he made a video with it, and then he was like, we're doing a destructive test. Screw you, Ferrari. You can't sue me. I don't care. Well, he then proceeded, and it sounds like this was going to be part of the very first video, maybe the second. And it's normally supposed to be like a multi-part series. He took it through a cornfield in Waco, Texas, and he even put in the video that it was like 116 degrees this day. It's a dead cornfield.
I'm watching it right now.
He's just sideways doing donuts, and you can see these little bits of like corn leaf picking up inside the tires. Suddenly it catches on fire, and within a matter of... The cameras were rolling this entire time because they were filming, obviously, and they specifically said to roll. Within a matter of minutes, his rental, brand new van, which they think is about $50,000, all of the gear inside, which they think is about $50,000, and his Ferrari, which is about $400,000, they're all engulfed in flames. They are trying to put this fire out with Red Bull that they had in a cooler and Gatorade, and they just can't get it contained before finally they have to call the fire department. And by the time the Ferrari or the fire department shows up, it's done. The van doesn't exist. The Ferrari doesn't exist. I don't think there's even an engine block left, which blew my mind. Nothing exists, really. It was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, this guy's done some crazy stuff before. And this, I don't think this was really going to be that crazy. It was just like, oh, hey, look, I'm doing donuts in a cornfield in my Ferrari because I can do what I want. But, boy, this is next level. So, and it was very clear. I don't think he meant to do this, obviously. It'd be very silly if he did. I don't think he did. But
No, from the video, it did not look like he meant to.
no. Did you guys ever see that video of him getting yelled at by the fire department a while back?
No.
Yeah, so he was visiting like a family friend or something, and he drove out into the middle of this cornfield, and they were out there, and there was a fire truck, and it looked like there wasn't a whole lot going on. Like maybe they just got done putting out maybe they're doing like a controlled burn or something. I don't know. And he rolls up, and this fire chief goes off on him. He's like, "This is an active fire scene. You need to get out of here." Blah blah blah. And the whole time he's talking smack, like, "Dude, I practically live here. Like, get off my back. I can be here if I want." Like, blah, blah, blah. And then he went and he bought a fire truck and he destroyed it. And he was like, "Look, dude, you're working. I can just buy that entire truck." And it was it was very smug of him. So somebody made a response like, "Gee, maybe biting at the fire department wasn't your smartest move ever. It really saved your butt here." But yeah, man, crazy stuff. You guy's nuts. I think he flew a little close to the sun on this one. I don't know. I'm trying to think
He
if
could
I
have
would.
also just set it on fire himself.
Well, I don't think it's in Waco, Texas. He didn't live in Waco, Texas. This isn't his field. They were specifically talking about the field. I don't think this was planned, dude. I really don't. I think if this was planned, I think there would have been a fire department nearby.
Hmm.
I'm toward the end of the video, like they do like a pan to his face, and he looked in utter disbelief on what was going on.
I genuinely don't think this is planned. Well, also you got to remember he's still fighting a lawsuit, I believe, or he's still fighting a sentence for the reckless driving of a watercraft in Tennessee. That's not done, and you got to. I can only imagine this is going to cause issues. I wouldn't doubt he's going to get like
Is this some random person's field?
I don't know. I highly doubt he went into like a random field. I'm sure he talked to somebody about it. But they are repeatedly saying like, "Oh gosh, stop the fire through the field. I don't care about the car. Stop. We got to put out the field." Now that also would have been just because, you know, he didn't want it to get bigger than he can manage. Yeah, Angel. This is the same guy that buried that lifted SEMA truck, and he's also the one that drove his truck into the ocean. His Monster Max. He's the one that got Monster Max. Yeah. There was a crazy like motor vehicle video on YouTube, it was probably whistling diesel. That guy's nuts though.
His channel runs on shock value.
It works.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's entertaining. I watch it. I mean, I can't look away.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I remember I watched the video where he chained his helicopter to the roof of his barn. It was like a fairly new barn at the time, and just sitting there flopping around like a toy. And I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, he's psychotic. He really is. This is not normal behavior. I love it. I'm here for it. When he said he only makes good content, boy, he's not joking. I'm gonna keep watching. Hell, I even sport it. Maybe don't set a field on fire, but other than that, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It's like what's that Russian YouTube car channel that does like weird stuff with cars? Garage 46 or something.
Garage 56. Yeah.
Garage
Those
56.
guys are awesome.
He's like a combination between Garage 56 and Mythbusters or something. Maybe not Mythbusters, but
I think he's a combination of Garage 56 and me. He just wants to talk shit and do funny stuff.
Exactly, yeah. And anything that like people say in the comments, he just does the opposite of it.
Yeah. Angel, if you look up Whistling Diesel,
hilarious.
You'll find that video very quickly. I know it's his last video.
It's his latest upload.
Yeah.
4 days ago.
How many views that video got?
6 million in 4 days.
It's honestly not as many as I was expecting.
That's pretty successful.
Well, it's very successful.
He's got videos from 3 months ago that haven't even cracked 10 million. And he's got 6 in 4 days on this one.
I'm not gonna lie, my Ferrari accidentally lit itself on fire and then burnt down a rental car too.
Oh,
I think I'd be hoping for the 50,000 or 50 million mark, not the 6 million.
Yeah. I think he's doing all right.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure
he's doing all right enough to this won't really set him back much.
Well, I know, dude, some of these YouTubers do some crazy things. Have you guys ever heard Cletus talk about when he bought the track? Brandon, you might have.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm paraphrasing a lot, and I don't remember the details specifically, but it was something along the lines of he had wrote up a check or something for the racetrack to finalize the deal. And then I guess some stuff came out from the IRS. It was like a tax payment or something. And his account, there wasn't even enough for like the check to clear. And I guess because of the type of check, there was possible jail time. And then I guess the IRS got involved or something. And essentially, they were going to there was concern he was going to get hit with like a fake check or something. I think it was on the Roman Atwood podcast. I'll have to try to find it. But it was a very interesting clip. And he was talking about how he was like panicking, calling everybody under the sun. And then like all of his YouTuber buddy was like, "Oh yeah, bro, that happens all the time. You spent more money than you had. Yeah, this is just how we do it. Yep, this is part of the game." And it got me to thinking like, all the people that say like you should never take on debt, that's not how these guys are doing it, man. That's exactly what they're doing. They're just, it's crazy.
Well,
it's crazy. They've
I
got
have my
money
own
coming
opinion
on.
on it. Like anybody who's watching that might be doing that, probably not, but they're living each day thinking their next video is going to be the biggest thing. And when
Yeah.
you live like that, you spend all your money on the next one, and then you spend all the money you made on that one on the next one.
I think Cletus is doing all right, though.
And
I think
no, he's
Cletus
doing
has.
fine.
I think Cletus has enough assets. I think he could sell and be like, ah, darn,
Oh, for
that
sure.
was
He's
silly.
got a safety net.
I mean, he has done that a couple times where it looks like he's bought something wild and then shortly after been like, hey, we're selling it.
Well, I think part of that too is he buys something and it doesn't bring in the content that he expects it to,
So he sells it.
so he
Make
sells
money
it
elsewhere.
to
Makes a ton
yeah.
of sense. Makes a
Well, it's
lot
like
of
'cause
sense.
he
Allocation
just
of resources.
yeah, because he just bought that Mark IV Supra, and you know, God knows how much that cost. And
Yeah.
Probably a penny in the bucket compared to his racetrack.
well, that is true too.
Or the what $300,000 El Camino? I think he mentioned that car was $250,000 at one point, and
I
that was a
believe it.
while back. Yeah. Angel said they
How
want
much does a racetrack cost though in Florida?
him and
50 million
Adam
to 100
LZ.
million dollars. I mean,
I know him and
Well,
Adam LZ both talked about how much it cost. I think Adam LZ said that his compound cost him $2 million. Don't quote me on that though.
well,
But
I
he's
mean,
talked about
the
it.
track was shut down, so I mean, he probably got it for way
Yeah.
cheaper than we all think.
And then the question is how much have you had to put into it. Luckily, I think the racetrack worked out because I remember he was talking. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have the money to do this." And then most time when he said that, they were able to do more than they thought. So it looks like it was bringing in money quicker than he expected.
it was pretty dilapidated when they bought it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it seemed like they
But
did a lot of work
they
themselves too.
repaved it, didn't they?
No,
partially.
only parts.
Yeah, there's certain segments have had different work done and different amounts of work done.
He said it would cost almost $1 million to repave the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, he just announced that he's going to do that experience thing where you could go and rent a Crown Vic that's dressed up like a bunch of their race cars. I think that's really cool.
I was hoping to hit that when we go to Florida in 2 weeks. I was going to try to go do it, but he don't have any openings that weekend.
So it's open now then?
Yeah, he had I think there was 3 weekends or 4 weekends this year
Wow.
that were available for testing. So
Whatever happened with that lawsuit that they said they were going to shut down the racetrack?
It wasn't a lawsuit.
Because
it
of
was
or not lawsuit, but
them
Town
building the
Buzz.
houses, yeah.
Yeah, the suburbs they were building nearby.
I haven't heard anything.
That's a problem
since.
with a lot of racetracks in the U.S.
There's one here in Indianapolis. It's over by IU that's shut down, or Purdue, one of the two. Lafayette, I think. There's a dead racetrack
NCM
down.
is kind of falling towards that now. One of my favorite racetracks that I've been to in the Midwest, by the way.
Really?
They have increasingly ridiculous noise limitations.
Brandon, why haven't... Dude, I should do that. I should do racetrack
You guys need to go
reviews.
now before it gets shut down, but
Yeah.
I don't think it'll get shut down because it's the Corvette testing ground.
Yeah.
They're not going to shut that down.
But the one here in Indianapolis, the Circle City, Mitch, the one we went to,
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to shut it down
Really?
for the noise complaint.
Circle City what?
Raceway, it's right here at the Marion County Fairgrounds.
I don't know. I don't know
Is it a
who
drag
thinks
strip?
this is...
It's a circle track.
It's
Oh,
a pretty big circle track. I don't
yeah.
I don't know where they think this is going to go. You don't need to be racing on the streets, and there's nowhere to race around here. I mean, I can't think of a single back road that was reasonable.
It's already a pretty far drive to find an actual racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
So
I honestly think it's partially due to just lower attendance. I can only imagine. I don't know. I don't own a racetrack, but my guess is there's not as many people out here racing internal combustion engines. And I think that
wait till you go to a track day.
Well, there's gonna be a bunch of people to track day, Ryan. But at the same time, how many people do you know? I would like to see the percentage of people you know that are into cars and have a car dedicated for racing on a closed course to people you just know. Because and keep in mind, we are all into cars. We've made car friends racing on closed courses. But I can only name a handful that like
People
racing.
that are actively doing that, I mean, you have a point. Yeah, it's not that much, but how much does it need to be?
A lot. Think about all the insurance and random stuff that goes into that racetrack.
Well, you've been to Autocross. I mean, you've seen how many people show up. Like sometimes less, sometimes more, but anytime I've gone to a track day, at least for motorcycles, it is sold out. Like everybody is there. People come up from Florida, all over the continent, even to Putnam Park. I mean, there were people there from all over the U.S. They are sold out. So people want to do it, and they can just keep charging more as they're obviously doing.
Well, yeah, they're going to keep charging more.
To keep the lights on.
I think there's going to be a point where people just say, I'm just going to race on the street. I can't afford tires and $1,000 entry fee. So I'm just going to go run it.
So I'm just going to get my car impounded and pay $1,000 ticket?
There's people doing it right now. Yeah. I mean, there's a group of dipshits in Ohio that are racing on roads, and they're posting this shit on TikTok and Instagram, and these kids are eating it up, thinking this is the coolest thing since sliced bread. I literally just saw a video of some dude that trashed his Honda Civic, and I remember I was about to comment. I was about to be like, well, what'd you expect? I mean, like, you guys are driving like a fucking idiot on a random street. I'm willing to bet if any of these kids hopped onto a racetrack or an autocross, I'm willing to bet they get gapped. There's zero chance that they are driving as close to the edge as you can on a close course. It doesn't happen. Or it happened and they just trashed his car. Because you know what happens?
We were 22 years old once.
Yes. And I was putting around doing little pulls here and there. I wasn't driving like a maniac, crossing the double yellow line, doing 80 mile an hour.
I haven't seen the videos. I don't know what they're doing, but
they're driving like absolute imbeciles.
That's been happening for decades. People doing dumb things like that.
And just to be clear, honestly, I think if you've got a group of guys together, you've got communication set up, and you've got people stationed watching like driveways and like watching intersections, making sure nobody's onto this road, I'm kind of okay with that. If you've got it set up where you're just risking yourselves, I'm kind of down for it. Adam LZ, he went street drifting in Australia, I think it was, and they had this huge network of people on radios. Hey, don't go. Somebody's coming up. Y'all need to pull off to the side. We will tell you when it's clear. They got past. Anybody else on? No. Okay, you're good. And nobody got hurt. They were all having fun. They wrecked their cars because you're pushing on the street. You don't have any room for error. That's going to happen. But I was like, yeah.
Also,
that's actually
officially cool. We do not condone street racing. If you do it, it's your fault if something happens.
Well, it is also highly illegal. Yeah, and you are risking your life. But I do think there's a way that... What's the word I'm looking for here? Where it's like not good, but everybody's kind of okay with it.
Tolerate?
No, tolerate's a good word. Unfortunately, my brain's not working.
Reasonable.
Yeah, like that's a reasonable way.
Bringing things down to a reasonable level of risk.
Yeah.
To where you have most things under control.
Yeah, there's a perfect word for it. But essentially, like I could see that and then like not give you the stick guy. Because I can't think of the word. If I see that you've got a setup and you're making sure that Susan on her way home from her 3 a.m. nursing job isn't going to be in harm's way, do you guys. Do you. I hope you all stay safe. But more importantly, don't take out somebody just trying to feed
Be safe, kids. Be smart if you're going to do anything on the street.
Yeah, Angel brought up people cutting through traffic. I think that's stupid. I don't think that's... I think if you're driving like an idiot in traffic, you just don't know what you're doing. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the time.
This is a reason I don't ride motorcycles on the road much anymore.
Yeah. Same. That dude, I don't know, man. I'll never get it. it's really easy to also hit somebody's car and do damage to somebody's car, and then they just
I
can't
got
afford
rear-ended like 3 months ago.
That's right. Yeah, somebody texting
Just
driving.
out of nowhere. If I was on a bike, I'd be dead.
Yeah. Was that the final straw for you? Was that the straw that broke the camel's back?
No, I hadn't been riding on the road for a while. I mean,
I guess it's right.
pretty much ever since I turned the Double R into a track bike, I really have not been riding on the road. And the DRZ, I rode around town. I never take it on the highway. Really, I never take it.
That'd be terrifying on the highway.
I would never take it into a city.
That was my favorite place to ride. Was around the circle downtown, but it was also the most
Matter of fact,
terrifying place.
if you're gonna ride a bike on the street, the highway is usually the safest place to ride, but also not.
Yeah. Dude, look at this. We are an hour and a half in. We haven't even hardly hit any of the topics I have. We're naturals at this. We are podcasting experts. We still got a whole host of questions for Daniel. By the time Daniel gets in here, it's just going to be like a Q&A session. Do you tow your car? Yes. Why do you hate Mazda 3s? He had a Mazda 3, and I don't think he liked it. So we're all going to gang up on him. Brandon, you can exit that since you've never owned a Mazda 3. Or we can just go buy you one.
If you're willing to buy me one, I'll take one.
He'll add it to his collection.
Yep.
So, well, I'd like to. That's a question I'd actually like to have Daniel in here for.
So, Brandon,
Ryan,
is the Jeep capable?
Is the Jeep
of an
alive?
Overland trip.
Honestly, I haven't drove the Jeep in like 2 weeks.
Give everybody a synopsis real quick. We got a couple people hanging out listening. Give us a synopsis on the current status and what happened.
So I'm believing I'm getting water intrusion somewhere after cutting the holes in the hood for the ventilation. So I'm thinking rain's getting into something it shouldn't, causing the transmission to shift and act funny. And so I'm not sure. I haven't tried driving it recently. But
I thought you said you took it out, it was fine, and you took it out in the rain again, and it acted up. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I just hadn't messed with it anymore since.
Yeah, I don't even know where you began diagnosing that.
Putting a new hood back on it.
Well, that's a good place to start.
I'm not gonna lie, Brandon. Off topic. What you just sent to the group chat, that 87 Oldsmobile Custom Cruiser.
Yes.
I am not a classic car guy, but this thing looks sick.
Oh, and I've already found a couple.
I found like 3 or 4, and they're decently priced.
A funeral home. Oh, that's hilarious.
Dude. Well, what is an Oldsmobile? I thought we were buying this to tow the Mustang. Can a custom Oldsmobile tow the Mustang?
I'm sure it would be. It's the same chassis as the Buick Roadmaster.
Bro, it's got the rear-facing third row.
That looks so sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I'm gonna have to get the setup so that I can like share. Oh, I thought this was legitimately a funeral home.
It's got the
vehicle.
roof rack. Is that pretty much a damn hearse?
Pretty much.
Okay, that explains it.
Well, I'm sure the hearse is probably body on frame too, for that payload capacity, son.
Sure.
Dude, Brandon, this would be so gangster. Showing up with the Mustang in tow. Oh my gosh.
That is cool.
I mean, to me, I think it'd be cooler to see, a big body GM car towing a big body GM car.
This would be so cool. Especially if you can get one that like doesn't need anything right now. Body molding.
Yeah, like all 3 of them, the ones I sent to the chat, like
it's 4 miles
are
per gallon.
But who cares?
This is where we start trying to find somebody that needs an extra.
If you don't care, yeah, that's fine.
I like how I sent you a slightly more expensive but like super luxurious 3-row SUV that would tow 9,000 pounds. You're like, no, 1985 Cutlass. Yes. Although, dude, them those fabric seats. Oh, dude, I bet this thing would be like riding on a cloud.
Oh,
Yes.
I kind of want to fall asleep on that seat right now.
Yeah.
It looks so comfortable.
I still slightly miss
Just
my
lay like a dead
95.
body in the back.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss my 95 Buick that I only drove for about 3-4 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah. I owned it for 2 months though.
I hated my Buick. To be
I miss.
fair, okay. The interior was actually kind of immaculate, and it was very comfortable. It was literally like riding on a cloud. Everything else about it was complete garbage. All 4 brake lines rusted out.
Yep.
The transmission had issues, and the gas tank leaked. I would fill it up. If I filled it up more than halfway, it would just leak out onto the ground.
I mean, that is kind of the GM way though, you know?
Yeah, it
That's
is.
what our expertise is. Rust.
So Ryan, have I ever told you about my Buick?
No.
I don't even know if Mitchell remembers my Buick that I had in high school. So I was leaving high school after football practice. I literally pulled out onto the side street by our high school, hit the brakes, and I heard this loud thud. I'm like, what in the world was that? So I throw the car up in park, start looking around the outside to see if I hit something. Nothing. I look underneath the car. The subframe rotted out and dropped the motor on the ground.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I
And
don't.
I started it back up, tried to get it back into the parking lot. It had disconnected the steering shaft. So there was no turning this thing. So if I was going
Wow.
down the road, I would have been dead.
That is insane.
Wow.
I
Yeah, I
But
don't know if Mitch. I think you were riding with me on the way home after I bought my Buick.
hmm
I drove it on the highway 2 hours from northern Indiana back to my house in Indianapolis. And as soon the guy told me that the brakes were kind of iffy, and I already looked at the brake lines, but I didn't really see the worst parts of them. So I was hesitant to really stomp on the brakes. I drove the car 2 hours home on the highway, lightly braking, being real careful. And as soon as I pulled in the driveway with Mitch, I was like, okay, I'm gonna really test out these brakes and see if they're gonna blow out on me.
That's your
As
first
soon as I
mistake.
stepped on the pedal, the 2 of the brake lines exploded and spewed brake fluid all over the ground. So
must
if
be a
I would have
Buick
had to
thing.
stop suddenly on the highway, I would have wrecked.
The funny thing was, I remember. So my Buick had the same thing. I bought my Buick, and I was told that it was very rusty. I remember I put my brother in the seat, and when you sat down, it would do one of these like gangster leans. And I didn't think nothing of it. I put my brother in it to drive it to my parents' house because I had my car there, and then I came and got it a couple days later. I got home and I realized the seat bracket on the inside of the vehicle had rusted through, and it was leaning on 3 posts for the seat. So I put a new seat in. And I was like, I'm sure everything else is good. I don't need to look, right? And I just remember I stopped one day. I was leaving work and I was about to get on the highway, and for some reason I stopped to get gas. I didn't even need gas. I was at like a half tank, and I normally don't stop, but I did. I was like, oh well, I'll just fill up. Go put my foot on the brake to put it in drive. Foot goes to the floor. I was like, huh. Oh boy, I'm glad I've stopped to get gas because I wasn't gonna have to hit the brakes until I was getting off the highway, because the on ramp is like very smooth and very fast, so I wasn't gonna be hitting the brakes again for another 30 minutes, and that was getting off. So I'm so thankful that happened. And then I remember I had the shop replace the brake lines, and I said I need it to be safe but affordable, and they did a compression fitting, Brandon.
Compression fittings.
And I remember I went out there one day to drive it. My foot went through the floor again. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I drove it to their shop using the parking brake to stop it. It was like right around the corner. And I called him. I was like, hey, it's there. Can you guys just fix the rear lines too? He's like, yeah. And then when I sold the car, I told the person, I said, hey, the car's really rusty. The guy showed up. He essentially just kicked tires. He was like, we do 600. And I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay. And I was like, you should probably drive it though. I was like, it's very rusty. He was like, I mean, it runs, don't it? I was like, yeah. I was like, but I would feel better if you drove it. And he gets in it. I watch him put his foot on the brake, and he kind of gets determined. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to test the brake pedal. He's going to do it. And I watch him start compressing the brake. I was like, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please don't. And then he let off. He's like, yeah, see, it's good. And I was like, oh, yeah, I knew that. I was sweating bullets, dude. I was so scared for like that 15 seconds. But yeah, supposedly they lived right around the corner. They might have just, like, we were done negotiating. And he said, yeah, we live right here in town. I never saw that car again in my life. And I lived there for another year. So, I don't know. I also never...
My Buick had a supercharger, though.
The greatest engine. The L96.
That I had to pull off to fix the leaking gaskets that dumped oil into my coolant. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Mine also had a 3.8, but it wasn't supercharged.
Hey, it's okay. My Buick wasn't the supercharged 3.8 either. Mine just had a thermostat that wouldn't close.
Well, better than it not opening.
Yeah, it didn't overheat. It just was very cold on the way to work.
Quickly become like the Buick recovery group.
He used it for something and dumped it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they just like robbed a store and then dumped my old blue Buick. I don't know why, but that car really grew on me. Car started to grow on me. I'm keeping an eye out now for Daniel. He was hoping to be on around this time. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I've owned 13 vehicles. I think the Buick is the worst. I'm trying to think. Oh, my CRV was pretty bad. I got burned on the... Well, I didn't get burned on it because I sold it for more than I bought it for. But I didn't make out well.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, it couldn't have been worse than your Buick.
No. I just remember when I went and bought that car, I showed up, we test drove it, and everything was good. Like, there was no clunks. Everything went into gear just fine. It was actually a pretty good little car. I mean, it was just like an old CRV, stick, all-wheel drive. I remember I told the wife my this had ABS, my Escape didn't, and that was part of the reason why I wanted a new vehicle. I really wanted ABS with a baby in the car during the winter. And I remember I was like, all right. I said, hold on, because I'm going to get on the brakes hard. I said, I want to make sure ABS lights up, make sure that it's not dead. Because somebody had done a bunch of work to the car, and that was part of the reason why I was looking at it. That should have been the first red flag. So we're driving out. I'm like, all right, here we go. Foot on the brake pedal starts stuttering. And I remember I hear a clunk. And I was like, okay, well, ABS works. I don't know what that was, but I'm sure it's fine. So I go back, and I was like right next to the shop. So I go back, tell the guy, like, oh, will you take this? Yeah, I'll take this. All right, bought the car. We're on our way home, and I remember on the way home, I stop at a stop sign, take off, and I hear a clunk from the rear end. I was like, really? I was like, I know for a fact that wasn't there. I didn't think nothing of it. I get home, I was like, all right, well, I'll fix that. I'm sure it's like a diff mount or something. I'm now driving this car. I haven't done the diff mount, and now I got a clunk from the front end. And dude, by the time like I finally get around to fixing these things, the motor mount sounds like it's trash. It sounds like I've got a ball joint dead. Now it's only been a couple weeks, and like the diff mount is dead. I remember I finally got this car in the air, and I've got a video. I grabbed the tire. Okay, the car's in neutral, or I guess put it in gear. Grab the tire, and I turn the tire back and forth, and the diff is like clunk, 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 clunk. I mean, it's jumping like 30 degrees with no weight. I'm just turning the tire and having the gears mesh. I mean, there was no load. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. And then, yeah, I remember I tried to get that out of there. There was a bolt seized inside of a bushing.
Like on the front tire?
It was on the rear diff. Yeah, rear tire, rear diff. There was no load. Yeah.
That's
again,
ridiculous.
This is a stick shift, so it was in neutral. But yeah, it was nuts. I think I might even still have.
I think I was there.
No, you weren't there, but I sent you guys a video of it. But it was insane. I remember.
I know you had a problem with the parking brake on it too.
Yeah, we fixed that though. You and I.
And I think that was it.
We did a Bablash.
Other than the valve lash adjustment, and then we figured out that the dude had sprayed the entire underbody with like black spray paint to
Yeah.
cover up all the rust.
To be honest, I don't think the frame itself was rusty. It was just like
No, I don't think it was
this.
that bad.
It was like all the nuts and bolts were just beyond repair. It was like they used
Yeah.
straight iron bolts and then sprayed it with salt water before it left the factory. I mean, it was bad. Because I remember I snapped 3 bolts trying to get the sway bars out. And I know for a fact I was going the right way. Well, I got a funny story for you. I'm trying to remember the exact setup on the diff mount bushing that I was replacing. But I remember there was a bolt going through like an ear on the diff and like a bushing on the diff mount. Don't quote me, it's been too long. But I remember like it was not coming loose. And I was like, it's rusty's in there. And I was like, you know what? I got to drill it anyway because it won't turn. So I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna put a ton of leverage on it and see if I can just break it free. And if it rounds the head of the bolt off, oh well, I don't have to drill through the head of the bolt now. I just got to drill through the bolt to free it up, right? So I get under there with my extendable ratchet. It's not moving. So like, all right, we're playing that game. I go grab the impact. Nothing. I was like, all right. I go grab my breaker bar. Dude, I'm torquing this breaker bar, everything I've got. The breaker bar's bowing, and I was like, man, it is not playing around. So I said, that's fine. But I said, that the head of the bolt's coming off, or it's coming loose. One of the two. I put the jack under it. I put the jack under the breaker bar, and I'm just sitting there, until I hear, boom. I get under there, and sure as shit, it has sheared off the head of the bolt. And the jack was starting to support this part of the weight of the vehicle. So what happened was when it sheared the head of the bolt off, the breaker bar went flying. Car came down, smacked the handle of the jack, and I was like, mission accomplished. At first, I thought it spun, and that's when I saw the head of the bolt. And that was when I realized I was going the wrong way. I was tightening this thing. I'm not joking. But
oh my god!
I don't remember everything up until this point, but I know for a fact the jack, I tightened the bolt with the jack. But I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, well, it's out of the way now. Oh, no, I didn't.
tell you about the time I had to drill out the Jetta's calipers? And I did a similar thing, except I was trying to loosen it the right direction. But I'm telling you, this bolt for the caliper was pretty much one piece with the flange at this point because it was so rusted. I had a breaker bar on that thing, and I was doing the same thing, lifting it with a jack to try to untighten it. It was lifting the car.
Oh my god!
It was so tight. I'm not fucking with you. Like, it was, yeah. So I had to drill it out, and that was horrible. But
Brandon, being a mechanic, you've got to have some stories for us.
Yeah, I was just
your
thinking
nightmare
that.
vehicle.
What is your nightmare vehicle?
What's the repair job that keeps you up at night?
2015 Nissan Juke.
Is this the Juke that's still on your list?
Yeah, I've had this Juke since March 4th
Oh my
at the shop.
Oh my god. What is wrong with it?
So it took me forever to be able to duplicate the customer's concern. But once I did, I was like, okay, shouldn't be that hard to fix. So as you pull up to a stoplight and you're sitting there, if the stoplight's longer, we'll say a minute, the car will start to stumble. Like, I know Mitch has probably felt it, but in like a big, like a higher horsepower, like automatic car, where you get the torque converter locking up at idle, where you get like the surge, is literally what this car would do. I mean, it's 4-cylinder, Juke, and so we've replaced so many parts on this thing, trying to get it fixed. I've been back and forth with Nissan since mid-April, trying to get this car fixed, and we might be onto something, but we're not sure. So I would say that has been my nightmare car.
Give me a list. Give me a list of some of the parts you've replaced.
So we have replaced mass airflow sensor, air filter, air fuel sensor, oxygen sensor. We have replaced throttle body, transmission. We are
Oh,
now, yeah, we are now on to replacing timing components. We've had the valve cover off to check valve clearances. We have what else?
I assume it's a hydraulic
Aren't those
lash, isn't
bucket
it?
under shim and
Uh,
bucket valves?
so it's a bucket. We don't have shims on
Or
like
no, sorry, no shims, just
yeah
bucket
yeah
on
just
valve,
buckets. Yep, bucket on valve.
precision ground.
Used the cam to open uh,
Right.
valves. Um, what else? I think that's about all we've replaced. But I mean, we've been
Man,
in and out of. Oh, ECM, by the way. But
wow.
so like
Can you
this is
guys
gonna be like
not?
a brand new car.
It smells like some kind of weird electrical issue to me.
It does.
Obviously, you're the mechanic, but
Well,
Well, we're
the
the
reason.
engineers, though, so
we're
we
the
should.
engineers, so yeah.
Well, we started leaning towards valve components because like when the vehicle is acting up, it drops engine vacuum to almost zero at idle, which at idle it should be, right around 20.
Yeah.
So, and then while it's just idling normally, the vacuum is very erratic. So that's why we started looking at
The
intake
vacuum
timing.
fluctuates during idle
Yes. Like
because the engine RPM must change and just go all over the place.
engine RPM only changes about 50 RPM.
That is odd.
So yeah,
What
like
the hell?
I've been back and forth with
That is odd,
Nissan's
man.
like engineering team. Like this has been like it baffles them.
Did you tell them they're stupid?
Not yet.
Just kidding.
I'll be like, my engineer buddies told me to tell you.
What, Brian? The very first thing you should know about engineers is we always think that we are way better than the other people.
I have gotten that from some of these engineers that I've talked to.
Really, I
A
can't
lot
think.
of engineers like to ride a high horse.
I can't think of a single engineer that we know that likes to ride high horse or talk shit about other engineers.
Hmm.
It's definitely nobody in a red shirt or
No,
a gray
not at
shirt.
all.
That's pink.
Hey,
Yes, very much salmon.
never mind.
But,
Oh,
yeah,
That is very odd.
Brandon, you just want me to come by and fix it for you?
yes, please.
I will. I got you.
I'd say yeah, I'm gonna finish up the timing chains and stuff tomorrow, and I'll let you know when you can come by to work on it.
Did you try changing the spark plugs?
Did you
Actually,
try unplugging it and plugging it back in?
unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Well,
Did you try
it's
sending it back to the customer, telling them that you
Oh,
fixed it?
dude.
you know
I
what the
think I know
funny
what it
thing
is.
is? What's up?
If he
It's
says,
Nissan.
I was about to say, if he says it's a Nissan.
Well, it's funny because Nissan has what they call a hard reset, and you literally take the battery terminals off and touch them together for 30 seconds and put it back on the battery. And it's just funny because you're like, it's just unplug it and plug it back in. It's
Yeah,
essentially
draining the remaining.
the capacitors and all
Capacitors.
that.
Yeah, yeah, remaining energy in the capacitors. Yeah,
But
and that didn't work either.
now,
That is nuts.
That is so strange. Is it turbo?
yeah,
What do you think it could be like a?
I'm just brainstorming. The weirdest part is you have vacuum changing at idle and the RPM only changes by like 50.
yeah, which is, I mean,
It's so strange.
it's so insignificant and it fluctuates like right around between about 20 and
The vacuum goes between 0 and 20.
no, like 20 and like I think it's like 15 at idle.
Oh,
And then soon as it starts to stumble or surge, it literally starts dropping like crazy all the way down to almost zero.
Yeah, that is a doozy. You'll have to let us know what you figure out. We're gonna have like a weekly update. Like Brandon fixes the Nissan Juke.
you replaced the map sensor?
Uh, they wanted me to until the vacuum was fluctuating, and then because the map sensor was reading properly per Nissan.
I would be thinking what sensors control the throttle body?
So
Wait,
where me and the one are like our dealer uh DTS, which is our dealer technical services. He's like a field engineer pretty much. So he comes out and is like, let's fix this. So we were talking about timing, and we're thinking like the intake, because it's got variable valve timing. So we're
Oh,
thinking the sprocket is not, I don't know what, like seating properly. So it's allowing it to move when it's not
butterfly
supposed to.
valves?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we're thinking that like the
Yeah.
oil pressure, and it's causing the intake, like the cam, to be like just jumping at all times rather than spinning over smoothly.
Oh.
wait. You said it. You said after you sit for a minute, it does this weird thing. So I
Yes.
assume it goes back to normal at some point.
Yep. It'll do it for between, I'd say, 10 and 20 seconds usually. And then it clears up and it's good for a while, and it'll do it again.
Oh, you're talking about the VVT actuator,
Yeah.
oil pressure controlled,
Yes.
and you're saying it's not reseating to its original position and it's just kind of like bouncing on itself?
Essentially. So what we're thinking, because like with Nissans, we should have, well, besides the 15 juke. So our solenoids are turned off at idle. So we have zero cam timing. Your advance or retard.
Retard, yeah.
Yeah. So we have zero at idle. Well, on the 15 juke only, we have 35 degrees. So it's being commanded with the oil pressure to 35 degrees. So what we're
Retarded or
thinking,
advanced?
advance.
Okay.
So what we're thinking is it's getting there, but then the oil pressure is like inside the gear isn't maintaining the proper, you know,
Proper constant pressure.
right. So we're thinking that
So it's jumping around timing
we're thinking like the
from what
cam
the rest
the
of
cam
the ECU expects.
right we're thinking the cam gears kind of just um almost like rattling back and forth inside of itself rather than holding constant pressure on. So that's what we're thinking, but I don't know.
That is a doozy.
All those dang engineers, and
You know, if they just
Well,
designed it
tell,
right the
tell
first
them they
time.
need to update their DVP, man.
you know what the funny thing is though? It's like Nissan has, pounded it in our technicians' heads. It's at idle. Timing is zero, period. And we're like, okay, well then I get this car and it's 35 degrees. I'm like, well shit, this thing's jump time, you know? And I started talking to, my higher ups, and they're like, oh no, no, sorry. That's normal. Only on the 15. It's like, why would you change it from any other car in our fleet? And it's like, makes
I'm
no sense.
I'm really hoping they come back and go, oh no, it should be zero.
I'm hoping because like
Actually, you know what? You're right.
because like I'm putting timing chains on it, so I'm like I'm gonna be really salty if it's
So wait
not
a
supposed
second. Do you have you just not gotten paid for this work then until this car's done?
I don't want to talk about it,
Oh my gosh.
bro. I'm gonna vent a little bit.
Okay.
So I've had this car for 5 months now, going on 6. I've only been paid for the transmission. Only reason I've been paid for the transmission is the extended warranty paid for it. I have over 5 months of diagnosing on this car. I take my papers to my service manager on this past Friday. It was the Friday before, and was talking to him. I'm like, hey, let's figure this out. Uh, about how much time I've got in this thing, blah blah blah. And he opens it up, looking at it. He's like, "Where's your punch time at?" So we have a clock where we can punch our time of looking. Like when we do warranty stuff, we have to have punch time for like just to have a paper trail of this is when he worked on the car. Well, he's like, where's all your punch time at? Well, why in the world would I punch on something that's not warranty? And he's like, well, I don't know how I'm gonna get you paid then. And I'm
Dude,
like, dude, I know for a fact I've got probably close to 100 hours in diagnosing on this car.
I would be furious.
Yeah. So I pretty much at this point, I've already told Maria, and like, it's gonna be one of those things. If I don't get paid, it's gonna be time to look at something else.
Yeah,
I
I would.
wouldn't blame you.
I'd be on the same page. Honestly,
That's
I'd be putting that car
ridiculous,
back
man.
together. I'd be like, get it out of here.
I'm gonna,
Honestly, I'd quit working on it.
Yeah,
yeah, I should quit working on it, but me being the person I am, I want to see it done. I want to see it fixed.
yeah.
And then at that point, then I'll cross the bridge of, hey, how you gonna pay me? But
That's nuts.
life of a flat rate technician.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's no, it's no surprise you guys are talking about there being a shortage,
Yeah.
especially if you can't get paid for honest work.
Yep. And I keep seeing more and more videos on TikTok about mechanic shortage.
There's a
And it
shortage
goes
of
back
everything.
to
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Big thing for us right now is the warranty times. Like, warranty time, for we'll say a valve cover gasket. Warranty time pays point 0.9. Well, if you look it up, customer pay is we'll say 2.1. It's like, where do you come up with the time difference?
Well, they're paying for the point .9.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I don't even know who sets that. Do you, Ryan?
Well, from what I've heard,
Financial analysts.
is they take someone, that's an experienced technician, hands them the tools needed for the job, and however long it takes that guy to do that job is what they base it on. So they do like a time survey of so many technicians. But
It's like a book value of the job time,
yeah,
Yeah, I've seen a couple people in my comments be like,
and that's what you get paid, no matter how many hours you spend on it.
I've seen a couple people in my comments of my engineer explains, and I'd be like, I want to know who sets this time, and I'd be like, that's not me. Don't don't point that at me.
It's a Nissan service department.
well, it's not just Nissan. It's like it goes back even further than that. Like there's a place called Motors, there's Chilton's, and then there's one other really big one.
Oh
But they
right,
all and they all do the time studies, and
yeah,
they're
and
the
it's
ones that set
just to be
labor
fair,
costs.
this has nothing to do with engineering.
Right.
After we make the car, after we design it, it goes out, and then these people figure out how long it takes to fix it. And yeah, those people, what is it, Chilton?
Yeah.
Those are the manuals that I see in auto parts stores, I think. But yeah,
Yeah.
they write the book on mechanic.
Do you guys mind if I change subject a little bit? Because that actually led
Nope.
me to something.
Yeah,
Somebody sent me a video that I actually need to respond to, and I actually need to film this tonight, I think. Uh, have you seen, Brandon, you might have, the electric truck company? Is it Edison Motors?
Rivian.
No, it's much smaller than that. They're not like an official thing yet. I think it was Edison. Brandon.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He's got that old
Edison.
truck. Yeah.
He's in Canada, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know
Chris?
about Edison through something that you wouldn't talk about on air? That I
A
would know
little
about?
bit.
Okay. Interesting. Anyway, so somebody sent me one of their videos and he said, uh, just before we get into it, this is going to spark a heated debate between you two, I think. He said, we don't hire engineers. He's like, we got a couple. He goes, but 90% of my company is mechanics. He goes, and essentially, and I'm paraphrasing a lot here, so don't take this to his video and say, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, it was like a mechanic who works on this every day knows where this stuff needs to be because they're the ones that are going to have to work on it. Whereas an engineer doesn't because they're behind a computer, which I think is a fair statement. But I think what's not fair, and by the way, just for record, I paraphrased a ton there. This is a much longer video. But I want to put together a response that essentially says something along the lines of, the problem is us engineers, we're not there designing something that's easy to work on. As much as I would like to, as much as Ryan would like to, we work on our own shit. We'd like to make it easy to work on because we might have to in a couple of years. They hire us to build something that they can sell and that you and I can purchase. And when Timmy and Tammy can't buy it because I've spent all this time and investment doing research to make sure something's serviceable and will last a couple 100,000 years, what good is the truck? My company's going under business. I can't pay my bills, and now nobody's buying that vehicle for you to work on. And it's really unfortunate. Now, I think Edison Motors is in a very unique situation. They're not building a mass-produced vehicle to sell to everybody, Joe Blow included. Like, I'm going to throw out an example of a company that we don't work for. Let's say a Toyota Camry. You know, my mom needs to be able to buy a Toyota Camry. She doesn't care how long it's going to take the technician to do the job. She just needs it to be affordable on every single front. Right?
And what?
Oh, and it's got to be.
It needs to be affordable and what?
You just got to sell
reliable.
Oh, reliable, yeah. Well, and no. I'm going to back that up. Actually, it doesn't have to be reliable, Ryan. It has to be reliable. No, actually, I'm just going to say it's got to be affordable. No, because if we were allowed to make something that was extremely reliable, we wouldn't be pushing things out in a couple of years. But we are, because they want to sell it, and because they need to make their money. It is not about reliability. The engineers care about reliability. We care about service too, but my company does not, and that's why you're getting these shitty designs, and that's why
I disagree.
Mechanics. Why is that?
I wholeheartedly believe that half, if not more, of the engineering that we do is to make the vehicle reliable.
Yes.
And we go to such deep depth to ensure that. I'm
All
sure
right.
you know.
But
So Mitch,
Things people don't even see. Like,
Brandon, I'll pass that off to you just 1 second. Because Ryan, I know exactly what you're saying. We do a
and
lot
sometimes the reliability and the functionality of the vehicle, those requirements that the OEMs set for tier ones or themselves, that drives the design, and that drives the reason why things are in the places they are in, and
Yes.
why it's sometimes hard to work on.
on the reliability
And
front.
on just one more comment on reliability.
Yeah.
Reliability is just, it's not a guarantee, right? You're going to have some components that are going to fail far before we thought they were going to, and for reasons that we couldn't see, because it's just so complicated.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Brandon, I'll pass it off to you in just a second. But Ryan, I know I have spent a lot of time working on reliability and running analysis and then redesigning when things didn't pass analysis that we had expected.
I spend so much time doing that.
Yeah. We've done a lot of research on heat exchangers to make sure that they are sufficient for the design. We want it to be reliable. It costs
We want it to work. We all love cars. Every one of us.
And
all the engineers, we love cars.
I was building a truck that my dad might buy. I want my dad to buy this truck. Be like, yeah, this thing that's got 200,000 miles. My son designed that. You know, I wanted that. But give me more time. I can only make it so reliable in a couple of years. And then, especially when I go to you and I say, boys, guys, this is not top of the line here. I've got something and I think it'll work, but this isn't really what I want to deliver. Too bad. You're out of time. We're building
The time
in
crunch
September.
is real.
Yeah, we're building in September.
Real.
Your parts will be there, or else we'll just get somebody else in, and they won't have the same issues that you have. So,
And I'll speak from firsthand experience. When you're fighting for contracts, like as a part of your, like, so the things that I do, we're designing things that don't even exist to win a contract with an OEM.
Yeah.
And we're competing against like 16, 20 other vendors that can make something just like we can. And it's like, okay, why can't you make it smaller? Well, because this would suffer. Well, then you're not going to win the contract.
Yeah. Brandon,
So
you
we got
were
to
on the.
make it work.
Yeah.
So
And
honestly, you expected me to be pinned against Ryan in this conversation? I actually agree with Ryan in this conversation. So, um, reliability and serviceability is what sells cars. Being able for the car to be, hey, this is going to be a good car, you know, like your Toyota Camry. You know that thing's going to get 200,000 miles on it. But for it to get
Mm-hmm.
200,000 miles on it, it's got to be serviceable.
Yes.
So, um, one of the big things like Nissan continues to talk about with like us technicians is sales sells the first car to the customer. After that, it's the manufacturer
they
being able
usually
to
don't
keep the
care
car. It's to keep the car reliable and serviceable.
until it's
Other
out of
than that,
warranty.
yep. But at the end of the day, that's what sells cars. You know, because like, you know, if you got a car that, hey, you need to replace your engine, but it's going to take 3 weeks to rebuild your engine compared to your Toyota that you can get, hey, I've got parts coming tomorrow and it'll be done tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the serviceability is definitely what
And I'll
helps.
say, never once have I seen in my year now of experience where somebody designed something and they're just like, oh, nobody can get in there to get to it. Fuck
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever does that. We have
Well.
rules, we have guidelines, we have a whole spreadsheet on, like, I'm not even kidding, like the way someone can bend their hand to get
Yep.
into a hole.
Yep. Yep. I know exactly what
Yeah,
you're talking about. We have serviceability and we have
you
manufacturing.
can't design it if it doesn't match that guideline, and that
Yeah.
guideline spreads throughout all US, at least, auto manufacturing.
Yeah. Also, if you guys work on a manufacturing line, just know we have a manufacturing card that we fill out that talks about, like Ryan said, hand angles, back position, weight, and where you're picking it up from that we have to approve and we have to sign off before we purchase parts. It's my job to not only make sure that we can manufacture it cost wise, but I also have to make sure that I can manufacture
It's ergonomic
ergonomics wise.
to manufacture. And
Yes.
this gets into, like, you're opening up the Pandora's box of how insanely complicated it is
I thought my
to do these things.
manufacturer, which I almost named, I thought my manufacturer, I thought that was going to be rare, Ryan. So it's interesting to hear that you, who's in a drastically different market, seen the same thing. That's actually
Yeah.
really interesting. And actually, I'm glad I ran this by you guys because I think I got a different response than I was expecting. So let me try to reword this. My manufacturer isn't trying to build a 100% fully. Man, I'm trying to think how I want to word this. We're not trying to build the new 1UZ. The 1UZ was built with like money was no object, right? We're gonna build the most amazing engine you ever seen, and that's what everybody thinks engineers do all day. We're not allowed. That money doesn't flow around like that. It just doesn't. There are times when a truck has to hit the market because other trucks are rumored to hit the market, and we can't be the last ones to the party. We've got to be there as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to build not a bad truck. We're going to try to build a good truck, but it's got to be delivered on that date. So you're going to work your hours to do that. And,
And I'm telling you, we work a lot.
yeah.
I mean, I just fired off a few emails before I started this podcast, to be honest. And that was at like
That's
7
disgusting.
o'clock.
That's disgusting.
So,
that's exactly why I left development. Fuck development.
and
I won't do it again.
it's because the things I'm telling people, I want it to work. And I would hope that every other engineer is like that. And I believe that they are, but
I do remember I sat at my desk one night because I was trying to update a drawing after a review we had with a customer. I sent a drawing for a model to our supplier, and then my meeting with the customer was shortly after. I don't go to those meetings. They don't let us talk to them. But my representative went and he came back and said they don't like that. They want if I remember correctly, I was a dipstick and they wanted it to be supported somewhere else. So, and this is like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I already sent this stuff to the supplier the day before. So I literally called up my supplier and I said, don't, because we were trying to kick off production. I said, stop it. I said, don't run anything today. Don't call your tooling suppliers. I said, a new design is coming down the pipeline. It's pretty similar, but it is slightly different. I said, I will have this on your desk before you get there in the morning. And sure as shit, I sat there. I had a couple other meetings. I didn't get started on it until 4. So from 4 to 6, I was remodeling and reconfiguring with my engine level assembly, not the chassis assembly, which we'll come back to. And then I had to create preliminary drawings, which are not up to full snuff. They're just to communicate. And I sent it to my supplier, and I said, here you go. I said, you can send this to your suppliers now. I said, I'll get you an official drawing in a couple of weeks when my drafting team's not busy. But that's one thing I do want to cover out, Ryan, as far as accessibility. We do have serviceability scorecards, and I have service in those meetings. People that work on a shop floor, and they go, I hate this. And I go, I know. It's not my decision. I'm sorry. Or they go, can you please don't deliver me a fucking plastic oil filter cap? They never survive. And sometimes I can go, you're right. I don't want my name to be on this. Let's go fix this. And you fight tooth and nail and you get it fixed.
It's just like anything else. Like, we can't make it so that every angle of everything is perfect for one person, right? Things have to suffer.
Yes.
And sometimes it ends up being what the mechanics have to deal with.
It's got to be
and we don't like it. It's
Mhm.
just everything else had higher priority for some parts.
It has to be well-rounded. It has to be affordable. It has to be serviceable for the most part, and it has to be long-lasting. And if you start pulling on one lever, the other 2 levers get affected by that. You start pulling on cost, everything else is going to go down. You start pulling on serviceability, cost is going up. I mean, we could build anything.
We have hour-long, multi-hour-long meetings, multi-times a week to discuss these things.
Yeah.
And you can never get it right.
Oh,
it's got to be a balance.
There is something very important I want to make sure. I should have included this first. Nobody's saying that a technician can't be a designer. I don't believe that at all. The only difference between me and Brandon is that I went to a different school than Brandon did. Therefore, I know how to work Microsoft Project, Excel, and I know how to talk to customers maybe a little better. Just because
given enough time, I think anyone could learn anything.
Yeah.
So I mean,
at the same time, I have to call Brandon all the time when my shit seriously breaks and go, Brandon, please help. I had a grounding issue that like threw me for a loop, and Brandon was like, "Did you check your grounds?" And I was like, "Oh, no." Dude, I lit your phone up on Saturday.
Well, it was funny too because I was at a wedding and it's like, oh, my phone's got ice, so I turned it off, and then I turned it back on and it was like 40 messages from Mitch. It's poor guy.
I felt bad because Maria was expecting to drive it, so I was like, okay, I need them to understand that I don't know what's going on, and the car may not start tomorrow, and she's gonna get let down. So I was like, listen, I think it's gonna start tomorrow.
Yeah, what happened with that?
I don't know. It started. So, all right, you guys do it.
Give me the symptoms.
I backed the car up. I didn't move it. I didn't start it. I just pushed it, and then I go to start it. Turn the key, and it sounded like the starter started turning it throughout that spur gear. I don't know what it's really called, to engage the flywheel. And then you heard the flywheel and that gear hit. So it's like a clunk, and then everything died. It didn't sound like there was any rotation. I didn't hear any compression. Nothing. It was just clunk.
Starter relay.
No.
Well, no, starter relay wasn't allowed to click, go out. So.
Yeah.
But if it was intermittent.
Well, the big thing would be
as soon as there was load, it died.
Yeah.
Cut
so
power.
which would be a current issue.
So I also, what was really weird is at this point my key was off, and I was looking and I was like, weird. And then I see my needles going, and they're just dancing. It's almost like sometimes when you cycle the key, the needles sweep. It's almost looking like they're trying to sweep, and they get like a quarter of the way through it, and then they shut off. And the key's off, by the way.
And you're saying it was a loose ground?
I think it was a bad ground, but here's the thing. None of them really looked bad. I never found like a super corroded, super rusty.
It can be weird things, like it's
not
tight enough. Remember that time with your Cobalt in the garage after we replaced the clutch?
Yeah.
And Luke left, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, you just need a whole new wiring harness. I'm sorry, dude."
Yeah.
And we just tightened down the grounding on the
Don't
battery, and
listen,
it
dude. I'm
started
an
right
expert
up.
mechanic, dude. This is why I got to make videos making fun of mechanics.
Oh,
You guys have enough dirt on me.
well, that was more of a slight on Luke. He was like, he had like a freaking. None of us had checked the battery, and he had like a multimeter, and he was like, he had one on the block, one pin on the block, and the other on the harness. He's like, "Oh, yeah, dude. It's your whole wiring harness, just done, dude. You got to buy a new one." And as
I
soon as I left, I tightened down the negative terminal on the battery, and it just started right up.
Yeah. My favorite part is right after that, we drove it around the block, and I got halfway around the block, and I go, "Oh shit, dude! I don't think we torqued down the wheels." And we did not. It's a miracle that fucking car ran, dude. Oh,
It was awesome.
there's a trend right now where people are like, you know, when your boy calls and you got to fix his car, and it's got like some like rap music, and the original video is like some dude showing off his gun, pointing at the camera, and he's got like a knife, and it's like jump cutting all these like tools for like gang warfare. Except now it's like some dude pulling out his like torque wrench and his fucking drill, and they're like pointing like, you know. So I was about to be like, when you're the group fuck up, and I was gonna be like pull it up like the whole covered piston from the Ducati and the cylinder head and the blown up turbo.
Nice.
But well,
And the Ducati, that was another. That was a whole other can of worms.
so I want to run something by you guys. I'm following up with Daniel to see if he's coming out today. This is going to be an interesting one to talk about on the YouTube live stream. I don't know if anybody's actually going to hear it or not. But I want to run it by you guys. This was Luke's idea. Okay? Luke and I were talking, and the YouTube channel has done pretty well. It finally started to slow down on its growth at 12,000. And I just crossed 21,000 on TikTok, 17,000 on Instagram. It's doing okay. Luke is saying I should sell a shirt or start a Patreon to fund a full build. But I don't think it'll be enough. I don't think I've got enough traction for that.
Defines a full build
Well, we're going to
in
start
dollars.
Well, I don't know. I can
think-
tell you I don't have money for build.
I think it'd be
I
something.
think you should try it out and see how much you make, and
What,
keep building, keep going,
what'd you say, Brandon?
whatever you want to do.
I would just kind of put it out on TikTok and just to see if anybody would be interested in a shirt, you know? Because I know like a lot of YouTubers like, hey, I'm going to put out a shirt, but it's going to be pre-order only. So that way you're not stuck with 300 shirts, you know?
Yeah. Well, he originally brought up the idea of me hand making them with the wife's Cricut, which is actually not a bad idea, and I'd actually be down for that. The thing is, they're going to be kind of shitty. The Cricut shirts, like, they're okay, but it's not something you're going to have for 2 years. I've got a couple that just don't fit me anymore, but before that, I had a couple that were falling apart. Which, if I made it clear, like, hey guys, I'm going to hand make these, like, if you think that's cool, cool. This, you know, I'm not here to make money off this. This is like, I just want to try this out. But he brought up the idea of a Patreon, and I think I like this idea more. A Patreon where there's like a couple pay levels, and for like, the idea is you would sponsor the team, the race team. There's a certain dollar amount where you get access to, I guess it would be this Discord, and you would be in on a team meeting. It's totally optional. You don't have to come. But if you're there, I'm going to say, hey, this is what we've spent money on this month. This is where your funding has gone. Where would you like to see it going next? So it'd be, do you want to see a turbo hybrid Renesis build? Do we want to see a track car build? Do we have funds for that? Do we want to see, you know, buying $1,000 car on Craigslist and racing it at the track? That's, you know, and it would be his case. Like, okay, guys, this, you know, that's all the funding we have right now. Okay, that's what you guys want to see. Let's do it. And I feel like that would be kind of cool because then the people that are contributing have a direct say. Um, I don't know. Oh, and then the other idea I had was like at a certain price point, at something higher, the name goes on the window, which was actually a pretty common thing on TikTok for a little while. People were putting all their followers on their car. I'm not going to try to do all the followers because you have one video blow up and you gain a couple thousand followers, you'll be out there all night. But the idea would be if you're contributing enough, your name goes on the car and it stays there until the end of the month. And every month I go through, I'm like, okay, there are 6 people at this pay level. Your guys' name's on the car. You guys, this is where I'm going to be. If you guys want to come hang out, I'd love to meet you guys. You guys can check out the car. I don't know though. I don't want it to come off weird. The only reason I would do that is so that we could extend what I'm capable of doing with the channel. Because right now it's just as the money builds, and when you got a 6-month-old, it builds kind of slowly. Which is why I'm on used tires, and I bought used tires to run next season. Notice how I haven't bought the wheels to go with those tires yet. So I don't know though.
And
I mean,
like, going with the shirt idea, like you could do like a short run of like, hey, I'm buying 15 shirts, like 3 in each size. If you want a shirt, buy one. You know, that way if you're worried about quality.
Yeah.
I think with where you're at right now, as far as subscriber count and views, a shirt might be better to start out with,
Yeah.
and then you feel that out and you raise up to a Patreon after that.
Oh, and I should mention this wasn't going to be something that's starting next week or next month. This was like
Well, yeah, I know.
the idea, well, specifically the Patreon, I would be waiting until if we're doing the RX-8 build, it's okay. Here it is. This is a pretty big build. There's not a ton of hybrid Renesis. I mean, this isn't like a 3-rotor or a 4-rotor, but nobody else is doing this right now. So if you guys want to come and hang around, and then if you guys want to see me boost it, I don't have the funds for that. But if you guys want to contribute, let's do this, and I can make it worth your time. He also mentioned doing the subscription thing, which technically I do have access to on Instagram and now YouTube. I think technically on TikTok, but man, with Jessica's new job, I'm not pushing that. I'm struggling to get one video out a day, let alone additional content that's worth somebody's hard-earned money. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think my channel's small enough. I think I could do the cricket thing. I think if I did that though, I would have to be like, hey, listen, just so you know, I'm making it right here in my fucking bedroom. So it's
I guess the main question I would ask is how many, like if you did a shirt, how many do you think you could make that would sell out in like a day?
I don't know. I don't. If I did it, it would be like, if you want one, sign up and I'll make you one. If I was doing the cricket thing, or
why don't you post like a YouTube short or what's your most popular platform?
Instagram's where I get the most feedback. People are very cool with responding on Instagram. I really want to stream to Instagram.
Just say, hey, would you guys rather me make a shirt about my upcoming RX-8 build, or would you rather me make a Patreon where you guys can directly fund and kind of like change the direction of this project to where you guys want to see it?
Going off of what Ryan said,
like
though,
you do your build and then they pick the tires and the suspension and the maybe a turbo, all that.
the shirt would give someone something tangible to hold on to, where the Patreon right now is you're fairly early in your social media.
You don't see anything.
They're not they're not
Yeah.
getting anything right, to hold. Where if you do the T-shirt, someone's actually getting something to hold and be like, okay, it's cool. I got a T-shirt.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why I was trying to come up with something physical, like the name on the card. Ideally, that would be seen in videos or something along those lines. But I hear what you guys are saying. I think the T-shirt idea, I think that would be fun to do for one, and it would be something cool that I could do. I think there's a charm in like the handmade. I just if I do it, I need people to know I made this. So I don't know how long it lasts, but if you think it's cool that I've put time and energy into this thing that I'm delivering to you,
I don't think
let's do it.
anything says I made this like a cricket T-shirt.
Yeah. You saying like
And
bad?
not saying the,
No, I'm saying that's good. Like
Oh yeah,
most people just send a design to China and get 50,000 shirts shipped to them,
yeah.
and it just looks like some generic like junky T-shirt.
Looks like we might be getting Daniel in here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he has a Discord, so we're gonna be working through that.
He's actually joining.
Yes. Oh.
Oh.
He does have a Discord. What's up, dude?
Your camera going? Yeah, there we go.
Dude,
What's up,
what is
man?
up?
oh,
All right, so Daniel, if you don't mind, I'll give you a quick introduction and I'll introduce you to everybody. So,
Second, let me get my headphones because it is. I don't know.
all right, you're good. We'll give you a second. But I'm going to introduce you to these guys real quick and then I'll do the inverse. So, Ryan and Brandon. Brandon, I know you've seen Daniel's stuff before, but Ryan, this is Daniel.Drives.
Up.
I followed Daniel, man, a while back. All right, can you hear us now?
Oh yeah, this is much better.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just saying,
Or-
I followed you a while back. I remember you were doing a live stream working on brakes on the Marauder. And I remember,
Oh yeah.
dude, that was a while back because I remember there was a big move around that time and a handful of that stuff.
That was right before I came out here to San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the questions Ryan was going to ask, though. He is a big California fan after going out there for some work.
Oh, cool.
Back. So, yeah.
Yeah. Where did you move from?
So I moved from Glendale, Arizona, kind of northwest corner of Phoenix, and came out here to San Diego. So I'm in Hillcrest, kind of just north of Balboa Park, and pretty good spot to be. Not a lot of
Nice.
room, but great weather, atmosphere, places to go, all that stuff.
Yeah, I've never been to San Diego, but I've been to like the greater Los Angeles area before, and man, there's some good driving roads out there. The
Oh
scenery is just gorgeous, but
Yep.
obviously it's got this. California has the stigma, unfortunately, of being expensive and you know.
Yeah.
So.
So, by the way,
Yeah, expensive for sure.
Introductions. My buddy Ryan is the other one on the camera. He's got the white headphones on. Ryan
Awesome, thank you.
is also a fellow engineer, for the record, because I think we're going to be getting
cool.
into that. Ryan mainly does bike track day stuff, I should say, and
That's
then
exciting.
light auto stuff. And then my buddy Brandon is the only one that's also not on video. And Brandon's got a little S550. He's been the one running Autocross with me, and actually fairly new to it. We've only been running what, for a year, Brandon?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then my mechanic friend that I always allude to in all my content would just be Brandon. I've got one mechanic friend, so he's my mechanic pass. So
The only
Nice.
mechanic that can tolerate the engineers.
Just
Yeah.
long enough to tell me.
Just a little bit.
So, boy, you have missed some discussions, and you're about to
boy.
make Brandon spend some money. Because I was
Oh,
talking about. Actually, I'm gonna have you guess out of the multiple vehicles you own. I'm not talking about the Camaro. I'm not talking about the Marauder.
Yep.
I'm here to hear about this damn Buick Roadmaster. Where's the Roadmaster?
Let's see here.
Oh,
Because
boy.
skills to flip a camera. Yes, it is over there. And
Oh man.
I don't film it enough because it's just a daily. And
Well, we found out these things can tow like up to 7,000 pounds, and now Brandon is like
Yes.
all on board trying to get one.
they're a pretty damn good car. It's kind of funny because it has like the same front clip as like the third gen Camaros, which was reasonably good handling back in the day. It has a triangulated 4-link rear axle. The ones with the tow package come with a limited slip and like rear air shocks. Yeah, like it's been such a great car. I've owned it for 2 years now. I I think 30,000 miles on it, including like a couple road trips from like Arizona to Washington State to San Diego to back and forth, like all over the place. Camped out of it. Like, it's such a good car.
Yeah, it seems like a very unique one because I didn't realize, I assumed it was a body on frame wagon, and then I guess we confirmed
Yes.
that is unique. And I was telling them, I said, dude, if I could buy a 7,000 pound tow capacity body on frame wagon, I'd be down. I probably can't
Yeah.
afford it, but I would figure it out.
7,000 pounds on that chassis might get a little bit exciting on
Yeah,
anything besides like a flat straight road.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, how are the
Um,
brakes on that?
They fit under 15-inch wheels, so
Oh
that's probably
boy.
all you need to know. Rear drums.
Yeah.
Boy, I thought the
Yikes.
Xterra was going to be rough towing.
The
Because
frame
telling
can tow 7,000 pounds, but
Yeah. Yeah, hope there's no hills.
I assume you don't have a tow package then.
No, I don't. So I've been meaning to fab up my own like tow hitch receiver thing, and I made the drawings. I cut a version 1. I learned that there were a few places where it was just a little bit off, and I haven't gone back to do a version 2 yet. So I need to get off my ass and just like do that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I was putting up your pictures in the OBS for YouTube stream because I like to try to include people's hashtags and stuff. I
Oh,
didn't
cool.
realize you had another Instagram called, it looks like it's Mobley Performance, which I'm understanding is your last name.
Oh, yeah, Mobley Performance Design. That's
Yeah.
like my little engineering company thing. I've used it for doing some side work for a few people over the years. Um, it's kind of nice. I don't have any like huge like contracts or clients or anything, but like when I feel like making some extra money by coming home and doing more engineering, I can. And when I don't want to do anything, I can just kind of not sign up for stuff and
So it is more of an official thing. It's not just, yeah, I made
not
this
just an Instagram.
Yeah. Well, that would be
I
really
need
cool.
to post more stuff over there.
You definitely should, because I was checking out some of the content, and it's definitely some
Mhm.
really cool stuff you're doing over there. So, what kind of equipment do you have access to? Because I was pretty impressed with what you were able to do.
Basically, just a laptop with SolidWorks and a
Oh.
3D printer. For all the metal stuff, I'll use like Send or like another local laser cutting service. I guess I do have a MIG welder, so I can, glue steel together, but
Yeah,
nothing too crazy there.
yeah. I think most of us have tried our hands at welding. We've got another mutual friend that's not in here that he does all of our he does exhaust work. It's not something you're gonna show off, but it'll seal up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think we've all tried our hand, and it's not gone well. At least I know mine didn't.
Hey,
Wait, did you weld up?
I can weld like a first day welding student.
I've heard about the Mazda Speed
And
Threes
it stays
exhaust,
together.
and I don't know if that's
Hey,
anything worth
that was
trying.
not with a MIG welder. That was with a stick welder, and
Oh,
it was
gosh.
god awful. I was not
Yeah, that's
prepared
not a
for that.
skill that I have.
Yeah. Well, I think what would be really cool is I don't know if you saw Brandon and I. We went out and visited all the Roderick brothers, Logan and Levi. Those guys, they got a
They have a
really
pretty
cool
legit
shop.
shop setup.
Yeah. It looks like it's a kind of a small time deal, but dude, they're doing some really cool stuff. And I don't know if they're in here, but actually, I'll have to put you on the RX-8 build idea. But I would like to work
sick.
with them if it gets crazy. So I've talked about it a bunch in here. I'll give you the very quick rundown. As you know, I have a 6-month-old child, and an NC Miata isn't great for hauling around a child. And I'd like to be able to get him into the fun car. Dude, I don't know if Bailey's still in here. Bailey was in the Twitch. I've seen videos
sick.
of him and his son in the Evo, and I'm like, I fucking need that. So
Yes.
I said, what's the best lightweight rear-wheel drive manual sports car I can get? And I think the RX-8 is the only under 3,000 pound rear-wheel drive manual 4-door you can get.
Sounds about right.
So we briefly considered a G35.
I mean, unless you're gonna go for like an
but-
old shitbox Mustang, but like,
Yeah. I considered doing like a 3-valve, but the 3-valve is kind of, you're still spending a lot of money for a 3-valve.
yeah.
So it's a lot of money for what the 3-valve is. At that point, I'd rather
Yeah.
just spend the extra money and get a Coyote.
Yeah, it's not as simple and reliable as the 2-valve, and it's not as powerful as a Coyote, so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They used to be cheap for a little while, but they're not.
Yeah. Well, everything else going up has made those go up as the like alternatives.
Yeah.
That's been kind of wild. Like looking at like enthusiast like used cars. Like I haven't bought anything in a couple of years. The Roadmaster was the last thing I bought, just because like the market for anything fun is just shit right now.
Well, you bought one vehicle,
Yep.
and you got the
Yeah.
short end of the stick on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Camaro, is it
That's
still
my
in the
own
shop?
dumbass self. Yes, we are still waiting on GM backorder parts. So
How
specifically one, it's the airbag control module.
right? How long has that been in there now?
Since late April. So all of May, June, July, and now half of August.
Brandon, does your guys' dealership have anything like that? Like, are you guys just got cars sitting around like waiting on things?
Not really, but I'm sure like the bike, the body shop and whatnot have. But
Really?
Yeah,
That's
on the
crazy, man.
mechanic side, we don't have anything like that.
that's good. Yeah, everything, like all the rest of the parts showed up within, I think, 3 or 4 weeks of them putting in the order for everything. Whole bunch of suspension components, ball joints. There was like a cooler that got damaged, a couple of cosmetic bits, and then all the airbag replacement stuff. Like all of that was done within like 5 weeks of the crash.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's just been sitting in their lot waiting for this one fucking component.
I was so gutted when I saw that. I can't imagine how you
Yeah.
felt because I remember you reaching out and it seemed like you were so excited. And then I'm scrolling through TikTok one day and I see a trashed Camaro and I realized it's your
Yep.
account. I was like, no way, dude.
Yeah, that was a proper fuck up, and I think that's going to inform how I drive on the street for probably the rest of my driving career.
Yeah,
It was just going too fast on a road that I hadn't scouted. I didn't build up to that particular run. I just went for it, and yeah, not good.
yeah. We talked about that briefly, specifically about track shutting down. Uh,
Yeah,
and it's just crazy because there's not going to be anywhere to do any of this stuff. I
yeah,
know.
no, like it's
Well, Ryan was saying it sounds like NCM, the Corvette Museum in Kentucky, which
really.
yeah, we're only
Well,
about
they're
3 hours
not
away.
shutting down. They just have really tight noise ordinance due to the
Oh,
neighborhoods that are
Yeah,
sprouting up around there, which seems to be
yeah,
a similar thing for like a lot of tracks around the U.S.
yeah.
So,
it's a shame, man. I
There's
know.
one back in Arizona, called Arizona Motorsports Park. It's kind of west of town, and it had a pretty strict noise restriction. I think it was 97 decibels on most days. But it was also literally underneath the end of an Air Force base like runway. So you'd hear all these quiet cars going
that's
around, and then like a
ridiculous.
plane would take off, and it's like, shattering like windows and stuff,
Oh
and then
my
it's like back
God.
to the quiet cars, and it's like, why are we doing?
I have it on good authority that the military gets away with a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Oh, there's no doubt.
oh
Yeah,
100%. It was
money's
also both it and the track were there before all the houses, but the track I guess didn't get any exemptions.
yeah. We were talking about how Cletus McFarland is fighting that with his track, and
Jeez.
I can't imagine buying that track and then hearing that information. It's got to be
Oh
gutting.
yeah. I mean,
So
I can imagine like how much money and time he's put into that place, and like props to him for making a like a center of car culture. Like that's awesome.
yeah, I think that's really cool what he's doing. So, well, Brandon, that's the goal, buddy. We got to figure this out, make it work, so we can buy that abandoned track in Lafayette, and then it'll get shut down.
Yeah,
You got that
right.
engineer money.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
dude. You and Levi, if
They have so much money.
you guys figure out what
Us
that
engineers.
engineer money is, and I'd love to figure it out. So, oh man, yeah, we've already hit well on the engineer versus mechanic thing tonight. We've been down that rabbit hole a couple times,
I will
but
say my personal humble brag is that the technicians at my work always seem to really enjoy getting my drawings, and so I'll take that as my little pat on the back here.
yeah, that is a nice compliment to get. I've had a couple of drafters reach out to me at my when I was working on design, where they've been
Mhm.
like, "Dude, I feel like you forgot a couple dimensions here." Just like, "Sorry, I was working late. I had to get it out."
Yeah,
It's one of those
yeah.
times where you're just like, "Dude, what am I doing?" So
Everything I've done so far has been relatively small and easy to fix, but yeah, I can. It's scary when you start doing bigger stuff.
it's terrifying, man. I mean I remember. So I think I've told you where I used to work, and these guys know where I used to work. But I
Hmm.
haven't said it on the internet. Um, I still remember when I gave my very first design review, which I didn't even realize at the time. That's when you were like telling your company, like, "All right, I've designed and tested. Let's spend money and build parts." And
Yeah.
somebody else had done all the work, and then there was a layoff, and then they're like, "Hey, you're going to give the review." And I went in there, and there was like,
Oh shit.
oh, man, I want to say there was like 15 people just in this room, and there was like 60 on the call. And I want to say it was like an oil filter head. I was like, "Hey, we're going to
Yeah.
deliver this oil filter head that I basically didn't know existed 2 weeks ago." And then they're
Oh my
like,
God.
dude, it was crazy because they were like, "Well, have you done what was like a DBJ and a DVA and all this other stuff?" I'm like, I remember I'd look at my boss. He's like, "Yeah, that's already been done," and he would start answering questions, and I was like, "What is going on here, dude?" And luckily,
Yikes.
it wasn't too bad. I mean, there ended up being like a big change, and then I actually got to start with, I will say, a mid-range program from start to finish, and that was a lot more fun because then it was like, "Oh yeah, I've actually done that. Let's answer questions."
That's cool.
Yeah, so Daniel, I'm not really familiar with you, and I think maybe some people in our audience might not have heard about you before,
Sure.
but can you kind of explain what you do and what you're about?
Yeah. So, I got my degree in engineering management because I'd rather deal with people than with like all math, all analysis all the time. Um, I think you can get a lot further by, being able to motivate people and align, efforts and whatnot. Um, and so I've been working as a manufacturing engineer for the last couple of years. My girlfriend just got home. And so yeah, basically figuring out how to make things easier, less complicated, creating fixtures, creating processes, trying to get processes under control. Um, my goal is like that the technicians who show up and actually like do the thing, make the money. My goal is that they don't hate their lives every day when they wake up. Um, if they have to deal with, you know, trying to align a bunch of stuff that's hard to deal with, or waiting on glue to dry at my current place.
Yeah.
That's no fun. So yeah, basically just trying to, make life easy for getting stuff out the door quick
Huh.
and correct. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Boy.
Okay.
So my current job, we make like underwater instruments, basically use sonar to measure like water flow. And so a lot of that is like complicated physics that's like really above my head. Um, like, how does the thickness of glue affect how this thing performs in the frequency domain? And it's like, oh, fuck, I don't know. Um, but got to figure it out. So yeah, it's been an interesting learning experience, but yeah,
Daniel,
good
speaking of
time
that,
Nice.
overall.
I've got to quickly
Yeah,
transition to this, and if you're not allowed to talk about it, or if you don't want to risk talking about it, that's okay.
go for it.
Do you know what event I'm about to ask questions about? Let me start with that.
No.
Like, one of the biggest events that was all over the news, underwater.
Oh yes, we had an instrument on that sub. And I can almost guarantee you that our instrument was sitting there on the ocean floor next to the Titanic. And if you put it on a new submarine, it would work just fine.
Oh my gosh,
Nice.
dude! Do you guys
So
get
That
that
was
back by any chance? Like, is there like a process where the government's coming around, like, "Hey, y'all better
I
check your
don't
shit"?
know. Well, because like they were a customer, like they bought it, like it's their instrument.
So,
who's
So
who's gonna go
presumably
down and get
whatever
it?
remains of Ocean Innovations or Ocean whatever it is, like owns that.
did you know
But
that,
yeah,
like,
I'm sure. Hmm?
did you know that this was your customer? Like, were you guys like, "Oh yeah, there's somebody like visiting the Titanic every now and then," before like this all happened?
Yeah, there's like pictures of that guy and his sub on our wall, like motivational posters. It's really funny.
Still?
There used to be an interview posted on my company's YouTube channel with the guy, and since the implosion, it has since been taken down. Um, that was pretty funny.
Wow.
That is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, we were like, oh, my dog went out again. Um, yeah, we had heard about that and was like, oh shit. But then, yeah, once it came out that the sub had exploded and it wasn't like, oh yeah, they lost where they were going and that would be on us. But no, the particular failure, that's not our problem.
That's crazy.
User error.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't have something quite as related, but I do remember there was a product that I was redesigning, and I
Hmm.
watched a very, very popular YouTuber that we've actually talked about here on the channel or on the this live stream, and they bought a truck with this engine in it, and then I remember
Oh
it
boy.
ended up having it ended up spinning a rod bearing, and I remember
Hmm.
watching the video and I'm like, I know it happened. I know it happened. We have processes in place specific for this, and I've
Hmm.
done some of those processes myself. Uh, but I remember sitting there watching. I was like, huh. Hey boys, we'll come back out in a couple of years when the new one's out. We fixed that. It's weird though. Like when you see, I didn't design this. I guess it sounds like you
Hmm.
probably didn't design this sensor either. But it's weird to like,
No, long before me.
yeah, hear about this kind of stuff happening. It's like you're so close to it.
Yeah, it's like, this unit went through this room that's right next to where I work, and people that I talked to touched it. Like, yeah, pretty wild.
Hey boss, I'll go down and pick that one up. Give me a scuba gear. Someone's got to get back.
Yeah, right.
So you do a bunch of track days. How many have you run this year?
This year, um, let's see, I did streets in January, right after I got the new motor into the Marauder. I did Chuckwalla, and I was either March or February, and I did one more track day at streets. Um, and then I kind of took the summer off, and then I had my first track day back at Laguna earlier this month.
Yeah,
Oh,
I saw
So,
that. I've got that
yeah,
on my list of topics. So tell
that
us,
is
what is Laguna
absolutely a
Seca like,
bucket
man?
list track.
Yeah.
Like most tracks are like we had this flat area and like we laid down some asphalt and like here's a little hill. Laguna is a legitimate roller coaster. Like there's a little bit of flat infield and then the rest of the track you're either going like up or you're going down and there's not much in between. It's
Yeah.
a
sounds so
blast.
fun.
I know.
Sounds so fun in the Miata.
Oh, it would be. I know Brandon and
Well, that's the
I.
cool thing is like obviously with like low horsepower cars, like you're not going to keep up with the big boys going uphill. But like if you have the grip and you have the confidence, you're all going the same speed going down the hill,
Mhm.
and that's a real blast.
Yeah.
I think I specifically remember running that track in iRacing with Brandon one time, and I was like, dude, how does anybody run this? I can't imagine doing this in real life. And then I
Oh
remember
yeah.
seeing a picture of your Marauder just all loaded up. I think on that
Oh yeah.
that one downhill like right-handed king
Entering the
corkscrew.
corkscrew. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember I was like, I can't imagine, especially in a fairly big body car.
Yeah. Well, it's a big body car, and the suspension is still like relatively soft because it's still pretty much a daily. Um, And so there was definitely a couple of times when I took that line like a little too aggressive over the drop. And so I now have a cord of missing rubber off of my right front
Huh.
tire edge. I need to roll my fenders apparently.
Is that the corner like right at the bottom of that last downhill section?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the big corner where like the photos from Laguna Seca are, like
Yeah.
that's the corkscrew. And so you're coming off of this hill, it's like a left-hand corner, you're
You go
dropping
left
in.
straight down a hill and then to the right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so if you don't go left enough, you kind of just like launch and then like land, and that can be a little
Oh
bit
boy.
aggressive.
Yeah. So what is the setup on the Marauder then?
So, um, suspension wise, it's got Ridetech coilovers all the way around. Or I guess it's Ridetech front coilovers, and then rear it has a divorced shock, and it has the original rear air springs. Um, It has bigger sway bars from Ibach. It has the poor man's big brake kit with like a Mustang rotor and a Corvette caliper. And then on the drivetrain, it's basically a stock motor. It's got headers and a tune, stock transmission, and then the rear end I put 373 gears and a Detroit True Track. And besides that, like there's not much done to that car.
Huh.
Racing seat and the steering wheel. That's about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it seems like
Oh,
you
and
make it
then
work pretty well.
275 width tires.
Yeah. Fat tires will help, especially in a big body
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
I was actually watching a guy run autocross. Brandon, I think you remember that yellow fifth gen from this weekend. I think he was on the factory 2.0 or 245 front tire, and he could just
Oh.
not he could not get that car rotated. It was a very tight and like slow course. There was a lot of like come down to speed, rotate,
Very
almost hard
steep steering
U-turns.
angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted a video today, and there was multiple times where I'm like fully crossed up, and even where I'm starting to come back on myself.
Oh man.
And that was in the Miata. But
Oh, I forgot to say, I did autocross once this summer, back in I think it was late June. It was my
yes,
first time ever doing it, and that was a good time.
yeah. And I think you had the same comments everybody does, including I think
Yeah.
Brandon and I, where it's just it's a great for the cost, but it's no secret there's definitely more drive per dollar at a track day.
Oh yeah. Well, and just the adrenaline of it. It's like even the worst case scenario on autocross, it's like, oh no, I spun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just with the higher speeds and like track limits. But it's also a pretty different skill. Like trying to read out the course in the parking lot between the cones. And I remember like this is a chicane, like
Yeah.
this is hang left. Like that is a unique skill that like you don't get from track
You have to
days.
think on your feet with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
autocross.
We've actually got a national champion that runs with our region, and one of the biggest skills he has is that he can go down and throw down a fast lap his very first run. And then after that, it's just
Nice.
like, okay, well, now I know what the course is. I have 5 more runs just to pick up time. Whereas then, like
Out
Brandon
there
and I,
fucking around.
yeah, it's just that guy is nuts. It doesn't matter what he's in; he's probably setting the fastest time of the day, and most of the time that is the case.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds like he's taken a really heavily built S2000 out to nationals this year. I might need to see if I can get him
sick.
on the thing. So I don't know if you saw, I had to cancel my track day, but I got it rescheduled.
Yeah.
So September 21st, I'm finally running my first event. So
Cool.
yeah, I really appreciate it because I actually
Yeah.
reached out to you, and then I reached out to Bailey as well, and Bailey was the one that went ahead and suggested the break. So we did pick up some track day breaks with
Good.
brake pads. So I got that RBF
Yeah, I
600
think-
fluid. So
Good. I think with a Miata, like having the higher temp like track day pads, like it's not going to be as critical.
right,
But like my first couple of track days when I was running basically like performance street pads, it got a little sketchy a few times.
really,
Yeah.
Just like slowing down a 4,000-pound car from those kind of speeds on lap after lap, like shit gets really hot, and I
Yeah.
was starting to feel the fade.
I did cook the Camaro's brake pads one time. My buddy and I were co-driving it, and no, I'm sorry, I don't think we cooked the pads. I think we boiled the fluid because I don't know when it ever
yeah.
been changed. And that was when I had the cam and everything though, and yeah, that was when I was really fighting ice mode, and it was pretty much right after that I was like, all right, let's just get it out of here. So,
Yeah.
but I am trying to
That's
convince Ryan, who has a Miata behind the curtain, to also run the same track day with me. He's on some old
Hell
Mia
yeah.
gens.
You know what? I think I am convinced. I think I'm gonna do it.
Which track is it?
It's
Gingerman.
Gingerman Raceway in
Oh.
South Haven, Michigan.
Yep.
Hell yeah, I've heard so many good things about that track.
Yeah.
It's a great track. I've just never driven on it.
I guess they just had Grid Life out there.
Yeah, they have it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see all the videos from everybody and like all the
Yeah.
parties.
When I went there a couple years ago for Grid Life, the party was insane. There was so many.
Yeah.
Dude, we got to try.
It's
to go
honestly
next
kind
year.
of a shit show. There's so many people there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I went to one like 2 years ago in Colorado,
Yeah.
and that was the Alpine Horizon Fest.
Oh,
Oh.
And yeah, that was a
That
riot.
sounds really cool.
I know they're
Nice.
doing one this fall up at Laguna. I don't think I'm going to that, but I am signed up. They have one at Streets of Willow. It's not like the whole festival thing, but it's still a great life. So I'm pretty excited. Probably like
Nice.
November or something.
so how many Grid Life events are there a year? It sounds like
Somewhere in
there's.
the range of like 10, I think.
Is it just like a
10 or
full
12?
racing organization then? Because don't people compete
As far
in
as
Grid
I
Life?
know.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do they have
Oh.
track battle and drift battle.
Dude,
Yeah,
believe.
they have like point standings for the track battle and whatnot, and then they also have like just the HPDE sessions.
Did you ever meet Junar, Mitch?
yes, I've met Junar.
He competes in the track battle for Grid Life now with the Civic.
I've been following him. Well, I guess he's running that CRZ right now. But yeah, I've been following him now on Facebook, keeping up
Oh.
with him. He's a friend of a friend, essentially. But yeah, He's
Yeah.
a pretty big Honda guy. He's actually got
That's cool.
one of the only true Honda Civic Si Mugens, however it's pronounced,
Ooh,
here in the U.S. But it's a real Mugen. He told me, he
that's
was like,
cool.
yeah, the U.S. spec just doesn't get anything cool besides the body kit. So, but I thought it was still really cool. I got to ride in it one time. So,
Nice. Yeah, if you know Gingerbeard Motors from TikTok, he runs the Grid Life thing. There's a guy I know, Andy Vocal. We crossed paths in Phoenix a few years ago. He runs a C8 with Grid Life. It seems like one of those, like most of the tracks they run are back east. So like if you lived in like Kentucky or Indiana, like you're in a much better spot. Like if I
really,
tried to run that, like every weekend except Laguna would be like, all right, step one, drive 30 hours across the country.
yeah.
Um, from there, most of them are going to be like a 10-hour drive.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, actually, we've all got into not really off-roading, more overlanding recently, and we're very much learning that there's none of that out here. So we're about to head up, not really to California, but out that direction.
Well,
Oh,
we
cool.
plan on doing the Trans-American Trail in 2025.
Yeah,
Nice. I've heard good things about that.
Yeah.
I think it should be a lot of fun. That is a certain we're currently in the works of. We actually, I guess you probably don't keep up with all the overlanding stuff, do you?
Not yet.
It's
Not
it's
yet.
entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining. We actually just had Billy Teo on. Was that last week?
That was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. We had Billy Teo on. I recommend his channel, by the way, if anybody is wanting to look up the Trans-American Trail. I think he's documented it the best, but he just showed him and his son running CRF 450s across the United States entirely.
That's sick.
4 weeks, man. It was nuts. So, I've got a question on here that's going to ruffle some feathers. And I'm actually just making a claim that I don't know is true. So, just kind of go with it. Why do you hate the Mazda 3? If I remember correctly, you had a Mazda 3 or you had a girlfriend with a Mazda 3?
Yes. So it was my girlfriend's car. She had it before we started dating, actually. And then 2 winters ago, it was like a rainy, wet day. Some shit happened. She ended up crashing in the back of somebody. I was looking for a
Oh.
cheap beater that didn't have a V8. So I bought it, fixed it for like a couple $100. And I don't know. I used it for a while. I put some good commuter miles on it. But after a while, I just kept driving my V8s. And, obviously spending more money on gas, but it's just like, I don't know. I just enjoyed the more substantial feel of those cars. And, I don't know, better ride, quieter. Like the Mazda 3 handles great. I would still love to have like a Speed 3 someday, but I don't know, just I had my key rack and I ended up grabbing them less and less and less, and then it kind of sat for a few months, and then it was like, all right, it's time to get this thing out of here.
Well,
Definitely
Ryan.
more of an econo box.
Yeah.
Than
Ryan actually had a. Well, Ryan, I'll let you give the rundown on your Speed.
I
3.
had an 07 Speed 3 for about 4
Nice.
years, and I had a big turbo on it, tuned, the entire parts catalog thrown at it, big intercooler, all that. It's making like 350 to 400 wheel horsepower, and I actually
Good
had
numbers for a car that light.
block milled out and a precision 6062 turbo that I was gonna put on it.
Nice.
I just got bored of the car and sold it,
Fair enough.
and now I'm in a Miata.
You really were like one step away from having like a 600 horsepower Mazda Speed 3.
Yeah,
and
I
that was
just-
just assemble it.
It just
You did
wasn't
all the
worth
hard
it,
work.
Yeah.
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 If I built it and put it together, it would have been worth a lot less than just selling all the parts and
All the
moving on.
parts.
I think that would have been like the Camaro was for me. It was like, look, everybody, I did it. Big cam Camaro.
Okay,
All right,
for
let's get it out
sale.
of here. Yeah. Now that I've
Yeah.
spent over $2,000 in the cam and tune. So, yeah.
There's some dude in my neighborhood who drives by sometimes with a audibly tuned Mazda Speed 3. I don't know what all's done to it, but that thing can get loud.
I will be the first one to tell you, I had a Gen 2 Mazda Speed 3 that was basically stock. I was going to do a bunch of stuff to it, never did because I was broke. But there are a lot of shitheads that own them. They're kind of turning into like the next Honda Civic.
Hey, careful.
Ryan, you know it's true. You were the
Well, no,
one
I
who was
mean,
saying it.
affordable go-fast cars, like, it's going to
Yeah.
attract a certain crowd, whether it's 350Zs or Honda Civics or,
Yeah.
No,
Mazda 3s.
it's
like,
true. It's true.
and they were very quick cars for the cost, especially. I mean, for what they
Yes.
were. But
So I have to ask, like, in the Midwest here, it's kind of like when you talk about California and you're a car guy, it's like, oh, I would never move there. There's so many laws and stupid rules. Like, how is it actually being a car enthusiast in California? Is it actually that bad, or
No, it's not that bad. Um, you know the phrase "only break one rule at a time."
yeah?
Like, if you're going to be speeding, make sure all your taillights work, kind of thing.
hmm
It's pretty much that. Like, um, I there may be some emissions equipment missing off the Marauder, but like I don't do dumb shit near cops, and so it's not a problem. Like I've never been pulled over in the state of California
really,
for anything,
huh?
in any of my vehicles.
I take it they're not
Actually,
very
yeah,
loud.
then I mean they're not stock, but yeah, they're not loud. Because like I road trip on my daily, and I don't want them to be like, oh, every single neighbor knows that it's that fucking guy leaving his house again.
That makes sense.
Um, but yeah, I mean they're both louder than stock. But like, yeah, I haven't, you know, look around before you peel out from a light, or don't do
Be
burnouts down the
reasonable and
street.
don't
Like,
draw too much attention in your
yeah,
parking lot.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
like I have like my friend Jordan down here, he has his 600 something horsepower big turbo IS 300. It's on drag radials in the back, like very obvious
Is that
car, and he's
shitbox
never been
garage?
pulled over in that. Yes.
Oh,
He
you're
lives
really?
like 3 miles from me.
Oh, I didn't realize you guys are good buddies.
Yeah. We've
Yeah,
seen each other at a couple of events. I need to post him more often. We need to hang out more often is what needs to happen.
dude, he blew
Um,
up.
yeah.
Dude, I followed
They
him one
like
day, and I had more followers than him, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna do well." And the next, thing you know, he had like 50,000, and he's well past
yeah,
that.
and now he's like 100K. It's like, holy shit.
Dude, I think that happened within like 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, he basically just decided one day, like, all right, I'm gonna get big on TikTok. And so then he put in the effort to like film and edit videos, and that's done exactly what he hoped it would.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny though. The videos that like that was super fucking illegal. The videos that do super well for him are his like sitting in front of a microphone talking about cars. His actual like working on car videos, like they're good videos, like they're good audio, like good lighting, good production, but they just don't pull the numbers. And I think that says a lot about TikTok, and how views and engagement works there.
Yeah, I've really made it a point to go over to or duplicate videos on Instagram and YouTube now, and I put a
Hmm.
lot more weight into that than TikTok now. It's
Yeah.
TikTok. I have to piss people off or I don't get views, and it's
Yeah,
true.
right.
Yeah,
If it's not clickbait, it's like, all right, swipe.
yeah. There's a couple people on like Instagram that have taken a liking to the Miata, and YouTube's kind of
Oh,
been the same. TikTok though, it's all mechanics, and half of them want to see me like struggle because they're just there. I think I got a lot of hate followers. I mean,
yeah. Well, with your whole series on,
yeah.
Engineer Explains, like
Well, it's funny because
that's
I
a
remember.
great series, by the way.
Well, thank you. I got very lucky with it. I was at home when we had the new baby, and
Hmm.
I didn't have anything to do. And one day I saw. Oh, I made that one video, and I was joking like, "Oh, me on my way to make a mechanic's job harder," and it did well. And I was like, maybe I'll post
Hmm.
another one. And then yeah, and then I had one video. I think it's at 1.6 million views. And then
Oh, nice.
yeah, I had a different one do like 2 mil on YouTube. Because I was like, all right, well, I guess this is my thing. But the nice thing is, it's not like a bad viewership. It's not like I've got a bunch of 12-year-olds following me because it's drama. So
Yeah,
it's all car enthusiasts. That is the
that's
nice thing.
cool.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these people interested in racing now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. And speaking of that, you don't seem to be. I tried to think of how I was going to word this. You don't seem to like really pay, or you're not
I
trying
don't
to
watch
make
my
it big.
views.
Yeah, you're not trying to make it big on TikTok, but you've surprisingly
Yeah.
done well for somebody who just doesn't isn't looking for it.
Yeah. So when it comes to like an internet presence, I don't really care about making it big. Like I've seen people that get big, like that S14 Z06 guy, like
Yeah.
Jordan Graff. And it's like props to them for what they're doing. Like, getting sponsorships and stuff is cool, but like I don't really want to put in the amount of energy in that direction that it takes to do what they've done.
Oh, dude.
Um, I'd rather have this as just like a personal blog, basically. I have like, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 people that I regularly interact with on TikTok.
Yep.
And like, that's great. Like, if my video doesn't get comments from anybody outside of that group, like, I'm thrilled. I just have less dumb shit to respond to. Like, every time a video gets big, like, the comment quality just like, whomp. And
I know 100%
yeah, so
what
like,
you're saying.
Yeah.
yeah, like, I don't really
I
care about
can
numbers.
totally understand that.
If I put in like high effort on a video, like, yeah, I'd like it to do better. Um, but like my one video that got big was about putting an LED strip under my hood. That one got like 1.4 million views like a couple years ago. And
Really?
none of the other like high effort like engineer like explains videos that I've done since then have like done anything. So yeah, I don't see TikTok as like a build a fame base thing. It's,
Yeah.
if I put out a video, I don't do like weekly uploads or anything. Which is also nice because like when I crashed the Camaro, I didn't feel like obligated to explain any of that.
Yeah.
Just didn't post for like a month and like nobody cared, and that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you still have a cult following of people that know what the Marauder are, and they think that it's cool that you race it. Like, I know that's
Yeah,
why I followed. Um,
yeah.
so definitely love seeing the
I,
Marauder
I
on the
and
channel.
I like that crowd. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Man, you're like what you're saying about the time input. I remember I started my channel. I was originally just set my phone up in the window of the Camaro because I was new to autocross and I wanted to see what I was doing, like especially my hands. And dude, I was on TikTok when it was do you remember what it used to be called?
ByteDance or no?
No, ByteDance owns them.
Musical.ly.
Musically. I was on here when it
Yeah.
was Musically because I was into like electronic dance
Wow.
music. So I used to follow the dance people because I found new music. And then next thing you know, there was there was a couple of like early channels that just had absolute shit boxes. Okay, not like funny shit boxes. It was just I'm trying to remember what they were. I talked about them in one of our live streams, but I remember I was like, huh, yeah. But it was like it wasn't even like cool shit. Oh, this guy actually has a following, so fuck it. I might stir up some drama. There was a guy racing a stock Toyota Corolla on the streets, man, night on the streets, and he would post him like racing this Toyota Corolla down these like back roads at night. He's like, "Oh, dude, there's nobody out on the road." I'm like, "You're gonna be wrong one day, and it's gonna be a big deal." And I don't think I've seen his channel since, but everybody was flocking his channel, and he would be like talking about like racing. I don't know. Anyway, so I posted a couple videos, and they did well. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll keep posting. And then I started posting that meme content, and I was like, I don't like this. But now it's gotten to the point where I'm trying to post. I like posting it. This is my hobby now. But the problem is now my hobby's it's digging into this hobby, which is like gaming and then racing. Something's gonna have to give. And honestly, it's starting.
And then you
like,
have a kid, like,
dude,
oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. It actually. Managing the baby life wasn't so hard. My wife was only working like 2 days a week just to give us some spending money, but she was kind of getting burnt out sitting at home with the baby crying all day, so she went back to work full time, and now she's working 50-60 hours, so that's why that's part of the reason why I had to cancel the track day. We just didn't have a babysitter. But so yeah,
that's a big jump.
I've kind of dialed back on the TikTok stuff. I'm actually, based on what time it is now, 10:30. I might still have to go record after this because I'm trying to get a video out tomorrow. But yeah, it's escalated very quickly to I mentioned the RX-8 and I didn't really talk about it much, but hell, we're talking about turning the RX-8 into like a content machine, not just to run with Eli, which is my son's name, and then run autocross. But do you know what a hybrid Renesis is, Bill? Not hybrid, electric. So the Renesis engine got a big issue where the exhaust ports are in the irons. They're not in the housings on the side. So the exhaust flow isn't very natural and how it's going to exit and enter the housing. Well, Kyle Mohan Racing, who's a big drifter, if you follow drifting, you know who he is. He's done a bunch of research and essentially found that the intake side of the Renesis engine in the RX-8s flows a ton of air. The exhaust side is the restriction, and that's where you're getting a lot of heat. And I guess people are cracking housings due to this heat. So,
Wow.
yeah, the solution there is to peripheral port it, which is actually putting that port in the side, kind of like all the old REW 13Bs are, RX-7s, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the 1984 to 87, I believe, RX-7 bolts right up to a Renesis iron. The housing does. And you can buy them brand new from Mazda, cheaper than the Renesis housings are. So you
That's
get
cool.
Yeah, you get a factory Mazda part, cheaper than a Renesis, and it bolts right up with no issues. You just have to build a custom exhaust header. So
Nice.
I'm considering doing that with like a bridge port, and then nobody else really does them besides Kyle Mohan, Mazda Tricks, which is essentially a Mazda racing team, and there's one other like big rotary guy on YouTube, but I can't find
Rob
anybody
Dom.
else. Well, actually, Rob Dom, but I don't think Rob Dom has done the hybrid Renesis. He's a big REW guy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah,
some
I
other
don't
rotary
know all
guy.
the nuances of like Mazda rotary tech.
Yeah. But anyway, I've been talking about building that for content now because it would put me in a class with basically nobody in it at Autocross. So I would either need to get more into track days, which I'm cool with if I've got the money, or just make it for content, which I'd never really thought about doing before. So
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's like if you're
oh no.
He did the what joke.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But guess what? Gone.
You didn't want to talk to us no more.
No, he was like, oh, this idiot won't show up by this old Mazda. Well, I'm waiting to see how long it takes him to figure it out. It's funny.
He might have actually just FU'd us.
I don't think he did. I'll message him. It's funny, as we talk to these people, I start coming up with like, oh, I want to talk to him about that. Oh, I want to talk to him about that. And I can't keep up. We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it'd be really cool to have an episode. Honestly, it'd be really cool to be able to just hang out with all these guys one time. I know, like, we got to go hang out with Logan and Levi. There we go, Brandon. Eventually, we'll make... Good.
And so we just need to get all these guys all into one big group and do like a track day together, go do something with this giant group of TikTokers or YouTubers and us.
That isn't impossible, actually. I mean, to be honest, that would be pretty sick. Set up like a content creation event. I assume a track day would probably be the most logical. Something Central America. We all hang out, plan like a 2-day thing. Everybody shows up, full batteries, and let's record.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Brandon, I just need you to know, by the way, you're the one that's been commenting on all of my posts since I've started doing this. You've been the one that's kind of been around for this. So you're the one that's getting signed up to go and help me film and create content.
And I'm okay with that. I can stand behind the camera.
All right.
All right, we're back. My phone died, surprisingly.
No, you're good. Oh, yeah, we started talking about the nuances of, like, media or content-specific builds or, like, you know, when pulling yourself out of competition, essentially, for it. Which, not that I'm really that competitive, but...
Yeah, it's weird because, like, you know, the decisions that you'd make for having, like, just a reliable, like, good running setup aren't necessarily the decisions that you'd make to do big numbers on the internet.
Yeah.
And when that's in conflict, it's like, oh, geez, what do you do, you know?
Yeah, I think
If you're not making the money from the internet, then that's a tough decision to try to do, but yeah.
I think I had the first case scenario that, I mean, I had the loud Camaro, bigger cam, 2-step. I mean, I had all the thing that the kids wanted to see on TikTok. And then I was like, actually, I just bought a shitty old Miata. I got Japanese, Chinese coilovers and some used tires now. But yeah, it's an interesting game to try to figure out.
Oh yeah.
Brandon came up with a genius idea, and I think you spit this out there, Brandon, is kind of like a joke, but this would be pretty sick. It would be really cool to get you and Levi and Logan, Roderick, and some other guys that kind of run this circle, this like lower end social media circle together, and just have like a big content creation event.
That'd be fun.
Dude, that would be sick.
And like in person or like.
Yeah, I'm thinking like
Yeah.
maybe like meet up at like a track event, central U.S. Everybody meets up.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because like as you guys are talking about some of your fab work that you've done with your, I'm sorry, it was Mobley Engineering Design.
Mobley Performance Design.
Mobley.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't have my notes up in front of me.
All good.
But dude, I think you and Levi and Logan would also have some really cool conversations. I think it'd just be cool to get everybody together. That'd be sick.
It's a good track that's in like the central U.S.
I was trying
Colorado?
to think.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Are there any good tracks in Colorado?
Road course? I'm not sure. I know Grid Life does things at like Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak.
That would be
Not the mountain, but the road course. There's like a racetrack there.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
There's another one.
I think you went. Oh no, there you are. You're good.
We're back. All right. There's another track kind of north of there that people do events at too, but I don't remember the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. I know I'm going to be talking to Bailey next week, by the way. So that should be a lot of fun. Yeah. So I've got Bailey on next week. I definitely think he'd be somebody that I'd want to invite. He's definitely not on our lower end. He's got a couple more viewers.
Yeah.
But
well, there is that new track they opened in Missouri recently. The Ozark International Raceway.
There's a new racetrack now? I thought we were
Yeah.
having
I didn't hear
problems with
about
tracks
that.
closing.
They just built it. Look it up. It's the Ozark International Raceway.
Oh, sick.
I need to get the stream set up. So
It's in the Ozark Mountains. It's got a lot of verticality to it, and
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit closer to us. It'd be quite a far drive for you if you were to come
Yeah.
into it, but
I think we'd have to figure out where everybody's at, because I know Bailey's in Texas.
honestly,
Roderick
there
Brothers
really
in Ohio.
isn't much for road courses until you get to California.
You guys kind of got everything out there, racing wise.
They do.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird because California is such a big state. Like the closest tracks to me are 3 hours away.
Yeah.
Buttonwillow's 6, Laguna's 8, like Sonoma is like 10, Thunderhill's like 12.
Do you guys have all the big tracks, not just tracks? You guys have all like the famous ones.
Most
Yeah.
well-known tracks. There's actually more
Yeah.
tracks in the eastern U.S. though, like per square mile.
Mm-hmm.
I feel once you get out, like past Missouri, there's literally nothing
Yeah.
until you hit like Laguna Seca. I don't know about Arizona or.
There's a couple of okay tracks in Arizona, but it's kind of like you have to know thing.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is a couple, but one of them's like a private club track. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I'm
That
scheming.
is kind of funny though.
So, sorry, I was saying I'm scheming now. I'm on this like this meetup event.
That'd be fun. That's kind of the reason I wanted to get the Camaro, is so that I could drive like many hours to a track and then drive and then like be confident that I'd be able to drive it home. Like as much fun as it would be to, it's a 23 SS1LE.
Okay. Yeah.
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 That would be
Comes
a really fun
comes
track.
with all of the things. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's all the things in one car.
I think it's no secret those
Yeah.
1LEs are just absolute animals out of the box.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's such a wild car.
Wait, you
And
haven't even got
it's-
it on track yet, have you?
No, I haven't. I had it in my possession for 9 days.
Oh my gosh, man. So wait, you've just been. So wait, I remember you messaged me telling me you hadn't really had a big car payment. So your first experience with a big car payment is just not having a car, but just having the payment.
Yes, which is super awesome.
I am so sorry.
Yeah, it's like every month paying that, and it's just like, oh, what am I paying for again? Like, fuck.
Did they at least offer you like a rental car? Not that you really need it, but like wouldn't be so bad if
Nope.
they gave you like a comfy. Dang, dude.
Nope.
That sucks.
Wait, so you are
Yeah.
still paying that car payment now?
Yep.
I mean, he owns
Yeah,
the
so it's
car.
just sitting at the
Yeah.
shop. They can't give it back to me until it has a airbag control module.
Oh, so that's just
And
not even an option.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Dang.
Did they give you an
yeah.
That's
updated
rough.
timeline on it?
3 weeks ago they said 2 weeks ago, so that's cool. No
So it's
updates
anybody's
since
guess.
then. Yeah. I've heard anywhere like it's basically been 4 to 6 weeks out for 12 weeks now.
Oh my gosh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like trying to not get my hopes up, but also like we're coming into track season and like I want my fucking car.
No, wait a second. You're coming into track season?
Yeah. Well, because it's hot down here.
Oh, that's
Like
fair. That's fair.
I've run like I last year I did a track day at Streets of Willow in like July, and it's just not fun. You're in a parking lot. It's like 115. You go on track, you beat the shit out of your car. Your tires last for like a lap because the track surface is like 120 degrees. Like
Yeah.
it's just not a good time. I drank like 3 gallons of water that day and I was still dehydrated. Um, but yeah, for us like this like September through like April, that is our awesome season.
Huh.
Go out, you have like 40, 50-degree mornings. Peak of the day is like high 70s. Like that is ideal track conditions.
I went to Los Angeles in January. I
Mhm.
left Indianapolis. It was like 25 degrees, and I landed in Los Angeles, and it was like 75.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to like think about moving out of Southern California. It's tough. Like it's
Yeah.
so nice here. And like, despite the money and the distance from like tracks and whatnot and like the space like it's yeah there's perks.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess you do know. I'm in Indiana. Ryan's used to
Mhm.
be in Indiana, but he's in Michigan, and then Brandon lives not far from me in Indiana as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, we've just got the Midwest. I mean, we're actually scrambling right now. Brandon and I we're trying to finish out our region's season by. Actually, we run in November, but we're oddballs. We end in November and then we fire up end of February. But the
Nice.
Indianapolis region, hell, they don't start to what, April, Brandon?
Yeah, first weekend of April.
So yeah, we hit it early.
So you're
But
like basically as soon as the snow melts you're back out there.
not even. I'm pretty sure that there was snow on the ground the night before this year's event. I mean, I
There
went out
was.
there on
Nice.
RT660s and it was 40 degrees.
That's exciting.
Yeah, ruining the tires I just put on. But
Oof.
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that though, because that's probably the weather that I'll have for my first track day. But
Yeah.
I'm excited because I bought that Xterra partially to tow with. It only tows 5,000
Mhm.
pounds, so it's not like a, Cummins or nothing. But
Hey, for a Miata though, that's enough.
yeah, and I'm excited to just ride down and comfort the AC on, and then ride
Yeah.
back. But oh, dude, Levi's in here. Levi, listen,
Oh, sick.
he said the Honda King is here. I got to ride in his S2000. Which I know I've mentioned that car's nuts. Although
Nice.
I'm hoping to hear he's got a new axle in it because I guess he just snapped an axle. He said.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Levi, we're all gonna have to work together because we've schemed a content creation event and just like a get together and hang out event. And this idea came up after hearing Daniel talk about some of the stuff that he's built and some of the stuff that he's been working on his own. And I think you guys would have a lot in common and a lot to talk about. So we're all on opposite ends of the U.S. So Ozark International, it's gonna have to work out. Oh, and Logan's in here now.
Looks like a really fun track. You guys should look it up if you haven't seen it before.
I think that would be
Oh,
a
yeah.
sick way to do it.
Kind of popping off right now.
Yeah.
They
just
literally
did some.
they just finished it right after COVID ended. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's brand new.
I was just doing some research. Motorsports Ranch. It's in Crescent, Texas. It's 14 hours from us and 19 hours from Daniel.
Speaking of Texas, what about Coda?
That could work too.
How is
I would love to run Coda.
how is Texas weather gonna be? Because I've been seeing I've been
Hotter
seeing
than
Bailey's videos, dude. His garage has been like 105, 110 degrees. I don't blame
Oh,
you for not
poor
going to work.
it's
Miata's
not
gonna
when we're
melt.
talking about this, like doing this.
Well, and that's not like a Phoenix 110. That's like a humid 110,
Yeah.
and that like
I'm telling you, you don't want to be in Texas in the summertime.
no.
Well, I
I've
don't
been
know
there.
when this would work. My guess is what'll happen is I'll probably get Bailey on next week and run this by him, and then I assume it'll probably be like us is like the main idea here, and maybe we can get a couple other people out there as well that we all mesh well with. I know there's people that I'm thinking of, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. Oh, Levi said when I rode in the S2000 it was only on 6 pounds. Oh, and he just put it on 15 pounds. New belt it'll be on 15 pounds. That thing's gonna be nuts, dude. That car
Yeah,
pulls
once
hard.
you pass like 1 atmosphere of boost, like that's when shit starts getting wild.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You got to remember that's with a top down. That's in a convertible.
God.
Dude,
Oh man.
I don't remember how quick we ran that car up to. Obviously, we never got over the speed limit. But I just remember
course.
sitting there thinking, I was like, I'm glad the Miata's not this quick. I wouldn't want that. Why don't we all fly down to Japan? Levi said. Yeah, let's.
You paying for everybody?
Yeah.
Fly over to Japan, rent race cars to Bisu or whatever.
Well, hold on. Levi's gonna say we got
Yeah.
that engineer money. So, Levi, you figure out where that engineer works, and we'll make it work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If I could have a San Diego salary with like a Midwest like expense, yeah, we could go to Japan. That'd be fun.
That's one thing I do love. Now I'm in a small town, dude. It's
Mhm.
so cheap out here.
Yeah.
Logan says
Yeah.
Texas count me out. He said he lived there one summer. Yeah. Well, Ryan mentioned, my buddy Ryan here mentioned that there is a new track called Ozark Raceway Park, which I think
Ozark International Raceway.
yeah, that would be a cool one too. But I think we'll have to search around that area. It looks like, unfortunately, like the actual center of the U.S., there's just a dead zone for cars. That or we'd have to
Yeah.
go to a drag event, which, I mean, I think that would be cool. But I think a lot of the people that we interact with are all corner
Road
people.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny though, like I'm not really a drag person, but like the Speed Week and like the, drive and drag events, like
Yes.
I think those are really cool and I would like to do one of those one day.
I want to do a
'Cause-
race and drive event so bad. I was dead set on running Autocross week, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Things like One Lap of America, like that's really cool, but it feels like it caters really hard to like supercar runners. And it's like, I don't know if I want to, do that. That's also another one that's like generally pretty East Coast based. So it'd be like step one, drive 22 hours to like Indiana for the first event,
Yeah.
and then like drive home 22 hours afterwards.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah. Make
That's
no
a
mistake
lot.
about it.
Yeah.
If in order to run a race and drive event, I have to run drag racing, I'll launch the Miata, dude. Miata axles are pretty cheap. We'll go break some. I've been launching the piss out of it now ever since we ran the West Ohio region, which is when we got to hang out with Levi and Logan. I was out there and I bogged at one launch and it ruined my time, and I said, we're not doing this game anymore. So now I'm looking down and I'm making sure we're well over 5,000. But
Good.
I think we might start giving it more beans. But well, Daniel, I've had a lot of fun hanging out with you. I thank you so much for coming on. I think
Yeah,
we all
thanks.
had a lot of
Sorry I was
fun.
running late. It's just life stacks up and
No, you're totally fine.
For sure, man.
Yeah, I mean this is why part of the reason we start later now is because life hit us. I got a baby to take care of. So, but yeah,
cool. Thank you for having me on. And
yeah, I think there will definitely be some more talks about getting everybody together though. That's
that'd be fun.
Brilliant idea. So, all right, hey Levi, Logan, thank you guys for popping by as well. I appreciate you guys. I better get off here, get a shower, get ready for bed, work tomorrow. All right, thanks guys.
All right, have a good one.
See ya.
All right, thanks, guys.